talk is money, honey. All we talk is money. All we talk is money. It's like bees to the honey. Honey, money, honey, money, honey. It's the SOSCAST, baby.
Welcome to a very special episode of the SOSCAST. Usually, you know, we do this in the afternoons, 4 to 6 o'clock. Well, we have a very special guest. We said, let's make this work. So we've been texting back and forth. We got on a call yesterday. We said, you're in town. You were at the CME. We figured it out. I'm traveling later this week. But Pearl's back. Pearl Davis is in the house. She hosts the pregame, the podcast, which has obviously gone viral. Her YouTube channel, Just Pearly Things, is approaching 2 million, I want to say. Mm-hmm. Is that the current number? Is that right?
Yeah,
so,
1.8.
You know her. Some people love her. Some people love to hate her. She's got people in her corner. She has people that want to get her cornered. Whatever your opinion is of Pearl Davis, the one thing we know for sure is she has made a name for herself in this world. She has blazed the trail for women in this space. Certainly probably the most famous red pill woman out there. You wore red, I assume, in that honor.
Yes.
Well, it's great to have you back. I think this is your 4th or 5th time here on Valuetainment. But we always have great conversations. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we disagree, but that's the whole concept is free speech. We're free speech advocates. Nobody's getting canceled. We're not shadowing anything like that. We want to have real conversations and do it in a respectful way. And we're happy to have Pearl back on the SOSCAST. Welcome back to the show, Pearl.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Ready to have some fun?
I'm ready to have a lot of fun.
There she is. So I promise you this won't be as tenuous or argumentative of some of the stuff you've done lately with your friend Piers Morgan. Oh, that's been interesting.
No, the last time I was on, it was all chill.
Was it?
I know. I didn't think they'd have me back, but I was like, I'm back, baby.
Loved you.
So how do you deal with that when, like, you know, they treat you as an ally and then they surprise you and then they bring you back and then
that was I think you guys reacted to it here, right?
When they what happened?
Yeah, I had no idea because the whole week, like, I was supposed to go on and they were telling me, like, basically that they were on my side. They agreed with me, free speech, we get it. And then I went on, it was like a total ambush. So it was really awkward in the dressing room, like, after.
You're like, they're like,
because I told them too, I was like, that is not what you said I was going on for.
Would that have changed your mind if they said, like, hey, we have a different side, but we want you to be on?
Well, it would have changed my mind if, like, because I didn't like how they edited the song, and I didn't like how they introduced it as, like, a Nick Fuente, because that just wasn't true. So I was like,
I was kind of confused. I'm like, wait, what?
It was actually, I was freestyling that day on the guitar.
Pearl can freestyle.
I know. So it was actually, like, it was kind of funny. People were just giving me words, and I was freestyling on the guitar, so it wasn't meant to be, like, that deep or, like, serious. And then all of a sudden, I'm on Piers Morgan about it.
Yeah, we did react to that. We've actually had Nick Fuentes on. Yeah. We've been in talks with Piers Morgan.
And he told you that. It wasn't like to him. Yeah.
No, so we'll talk about that today on the podcast. Real quick, let me sort of just set the tone, expectations. We know that there's a time limit, so we've got about an hour 45, so I want to get as much in as possible. As always, Natalia Del Valle is here. She's going to be manning the super chats. Yes, she can read. Our friend Malik over there.
They complain about me reading too.
Yeah.
It's harder than they think.
It's harder than you think, especially with the poor spelling.
Yeah,
our friend.
They don't.
Thanks, Pearl.
Look at you guys getting along, the women.
You get it.
Malik's over there. Malik's going to be doing some polls. Stay active, stay vigilant, and not a lot to pull up today because we're just going to have a conversation. But you know this. We say that this is the SOSCAST, the sexiest financial show in the world where finance meets romance, and we're here to get help people out there get paid, laid, and do it your way. Today, obviously, you're in the red pill space, the intersexual dynamic space, everything that goes along with that. So certainly we're going to talk about dating, modern women, everything that goes along with that. You know, he who pays says. That's something one of the monikers that we talk about here. But there's a whole host of things we're going to talk about today. But the audience, I think we'll be better served and get to know Pearl a little bit better, get to know me a little bit better, because at the end, wait for the end, Pearl's going to flip the script and ask me some questions, some tough questions, hold my feet to the fire.
No, they're not.
We've
They're
had, there's no rules, like there's no like, hey, don't talk about this. Pearl is a gamer. She said, hey, let's come on, let's have a conversation. She knows that we respect her and we'll treat her fairly. And this isn't any sort of gotcha kind of interview. But at the same time, you know, you're no stranger to controversy. Things have been said. So I want to get your take on some of the things that are out there, the misconceptions about you, what you stand by, all that fun stuff.
Okay.
So let's start with a light question and have a good talk. So, you know, I kind of segued in that. So you've made some comments that some people deem controversial, right? You've talked about gender, you've talked about women, you've talked about fat shaming necessarily, society, religion. There's some things that you've said that people have vehemently disagreed with. And then some people that are like, hell yeah, Pearl nailed it. Someone needed to say it. That's kind of how the way it works is when you take a stance on something, you're going to have allies and then you're going to have people basically forming sort of in the enemy camp. So, but we also know, especially with social media and YouTube and long form content, that short clips and little reels and clips can be taken out of context, right? So you've said a lot of things. Out of everything you've said, what do you think has been the most misconstrued about you? And if there's anything you would walk back, what would it be?
If there's anything I'd walk, I can't really think of much.
You stand by all your statements.
I don't know. It's tough because I've said so many things, but there's nothing that really comes to the top of my head, you know. I would say one of the most misconstrued things is people think I hate women. That's like something I get 24/7. Sure. But I think, you know, we can't really have progress if we're not honest. So I'm all about honesty.
Got it. So why do you think people think you hate women?
Oh, because I say things like women are dumber than men. Yeah.
And you stand by that?
Oh yeah.
So okay. So women.
I just look at the top women and the top men. It's like Kim Kardashian or Elon Musk.
Right.
Like, what conclusion am I supposed to come to when literally all the female billionaires like tend to be billionaires through sex work
or through divorce?
Exactly. Yeah.
Mackenzie Bezos, Steve Jobs' wife. The list goes on and on and on.
Yeah. So, you know, some people take that offensively. And I mean it. So, yeah, you can be mad.
So nothing. You're not walking anything back. Stand by your statements. That's how you know you're a true believer. You're like, I wish I can have a mulligan, take that thing back. But I'm sure
there is something. I talk so much. I just can't think of it now.
No doubt.
You know what I mean?
But the biggest misconception is that you hate women.
Yeah.
But you're saying that you don't. But how do you feel about women?
I just think the last 100 years, you know, we've been given more freedom than ever, and we've made terrible choices as a group. You know, I just think when you look at the numbers, you can't really dispute that, right? So 100 years ago, 85% of women are virgins. Now we have more OnlyFans models than teachers. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what conclusion am I supposed to come to when I look at these numbers?
Got it. What else do you think are women getting terribly wrong in modern society?
I would just say women typically want a lot of freedom without the responsibility that comes with it. I don't have any problem with, you know, women having freedom, but you should also have the responsibility that comes with it. That's why women shouldn't vote, because they don't want to do the infrastructure jobs. They don't want to be net taxpayers, and they want to take money from men through divorce and alimony. And I think if you're going to do that, most women do, I think you should not be able to vote. Yes.
Got it. Which is also something we're going to discuss today.
Yeah.
So, Nat.
Yes.
Newsflash, you're a woman.
Yes, I am.
Okay. So, we're going to get into a lot of stuff today. When Pearl says things like, look, you're dumber than me, Nat. I mean, that's not a crazy controversial topic, to be honest with you. She also says someone like you shouldn't vote. How do you process that as a woman?
I think she's smarter than some guys, though. Yeah.
Okay.
Here's my thing is that I'm not going to compare a man to a woman. You know, they're meant to be doing different things. So for you to say, oh, a man is stronger than a woman or a man is smarter than a woman, and, you know, as essentially a man's resources and the things they have to do, it does give them the skills to be smarter. They're supposed to be smarter. They're leading, they're guiding. So like things like that, I'm also considering like certain things don't trigger me because I may not feel like I'm in that boat of like, I'm arguing with a man like if they're smarter with me. Now, men are more resourceful for sure. There's a point of truth, which is supposed to be like biologically, but at the end of the day, a woman's role is completely different than a man. So for me, it's like, you know, that's kind of just.
Have you ever seen that episode of Survivor where they put like a bunch of women
for sure,
on an island,
yeah,
a bunch of men on an island?
How does it go?
And the men are like, they have like a whole system running.
Yeah,
within
they're
a
like,
day.
yay, there's like a fire going, like they're resourceful.
And the women basically had to be rescued.
Yeah, but here's the thing though. I mean, as it should. Like, what is a woman supposed to do? Like, go and be good at those things and not have that nurture side as well? So there's strengths and there's weaknesses.
Women aren't even more nurturing. Yeah, I disagree with that.
Well,
I disagree completely. I think if you want to look at nurturing, who is the most likely one to kill infants and the elderly? Women. So I actually think we have all this propaganda saying like women are so nurturing and all this stuff.
Well, I think
when you say, hold on, let me say that
women-
for a second. When
You
you
know-
say
you
the
know,
infants and the
infant side-
elderly, you're saying abortion?
No, both. So even
And how are they
like
killing the elderly?
so they're more likely to kill the elderly.
In what regard?
Like they're more likely to kill an elderly person.
Like
than a male.
euthanasia?
No, like violent, like in nursing homes, that sort of thing. Like you'll see the cases pop up in the news where these female nurses.
But
that's even more
I'll
of
give you-
mental health. That's where a woman's mentality maybe is not as strong enough as a man. So again, it kind of goes back to what you're comparing. You're comparing apples to apples.
I think women are more violent than men. And if you look at one-sided abuse, 70% of the time it's women hitting the men and not men hitting the women. So I actually would argue that women are more violent than men. They just can't be.
And I also think
and so infant side, so a woman killing or someone killing a baby within the first 24 hours of life is very rare for a male to do that. Like it's like almost unheard of.
So then, but how many males are in that division to be comparing how many women?
What do you mean?
How are they measuring that? Like the amount of women in that field, right? There's a lot more women in that field than men.
Are you talking about nursing? Well, I mean, parenting, there's usually a dad and a mom. And
right, but I'm talking about like nursing, for example, right?
Yeah.
You see more women nurses there. So those numbers make sense.
No, but it's not new. So, and this is the thing. Like a lot of times the stuff you see today you think is new, it's not new. In the 1800s, women were also more likely to kill infants. Even before abortion, before nursing, before all this stuff.
Interesting. Malik, run a poll. Who's more nurturing, men or women? Listen, we're going to have a wild array of conversations. We're going to talk about... Hold on, Nat. We're going to talk about an array of topics. I've never heard in my life that men are more nurturing than women. So what made you come to that conclusion?
The conclusion I came to was, you know, when I think of nurturing, I think of how do you interact with the innocent? And I guess more of my point is that women are more violent than men, I would argue, because I think women are more likely to kill the innocent, where men are not. I think men just tend to be better people in general. Yes.
So men are better people.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why I think there's reasons for that. Because typically, if one guy is being too bad of a person, another guy will come and check him. Where women don't necessarily have that. Even if you look at prison sentences, you see these women that constantly get bailed out of bad decisions. So like Casey Anthony got let out of jail, right? She's remarried now. And you'll see cases like that all the time. Women don't get the same sentences that men get when it comes to prison sentences as well. I don't see women having the same consequences in society. And I think women have a harder time regulating emotions. So that's why I think they're more violent personally.
Well, it also comes down to the amount of freedom that has been given too. Because numbers have gotten to this point as well based on the eligibility that women can do certain things now. So now that they have more freedom to do the things, maybe they don't know how to handle certain emotions, behaviors. Maybe they shouldn't be part of certain things as well.
Again, I said this isn't new. That was what I said before. So even before they had the freedom of the right to vote, women were still more likely to kill infants in the 1800s, 1700s, 1600s. This is not new.
So can it be attributed to the fact that men are more hierarchical, women are more egalitarian? So if you look at a spectrum of things, men, by a wide margin, are going to be smarter, stronger, wealthier, more, in your regard, more nurturing, more protective, where women sort of associate in the middle of the spectrum, more egalitarian. And then all the way to the left, more men are psychopaths, murderers, absolute idiots, more men are homeless and just don't win in life.
Well,
So
I
it's
think-
more like men are on the opposite sides of the spectrum, whereas women sort of
we would have to go,
stay in the middle.
We would have to go through each and every one of those. So if you wanted to go through homeless, I would argue that more women would be homeless if they actually faced consequences for their decisions. If you want to go based on, what was the other things you said? Homeless.
Barbaric, murderers, vicious,
So even murderers,
manslaughter,
that's like
homicide.
saying, that's like women cannot murder in the same way men can murder. I would argue. One, I don't think they're smart enough to pull it off. I don't think you're going to get a women Ted Bundy the same way you're not going to get a woman.
There's some out there, but not as many as men.
I was
Not
like,
as many, that's my point. I think men are more likely to get away with it for longer. But the second thing I would say is that I would argue that. Wait, sorry. What was the second one?
All the vicious crimes.
Oh, the vicious crimes. Again, you have to look at abuse and who murders the innocent. Women cannot be violent in the same way men can be violent. They can't. But when they can be violent, they're more likely to kill the innocent. So when women have the opportunity to be violent towards the infants and the elderly, they are more likely to kill.
Got it. And is that, kind of to Nat's question, is that just sort of circumstantial, meaning they're around more infants, they're the ones dealing with actual babies, daycares, nurseries, or even women are way more inclined to go into nursing and healthcare, so they're just kind of in that situation. So by the law of large numbers, they're going to be more likely.
So you
That's like saying men are more likely to kill other people at war. Yeah, because 95% of the military is
so
men.
Interesting. It's like whenever there's a bad stat about women, we always have this like gut reaction to like give a reason or an excuse. But no,
I think it's a bad stat in general.
This is even 1800s, 70s. These are completely different time periods. Women were always more likely to kill the infants and the elderly.
So look, I'm here to have an actual conversation. I've never, you said that you think that men are more nurturing than women. That's the first time I've ever heard that, right? I think that men will do more, right, out of unconditional love for a woman, whereas a lot of women will have conditions in order to give love, right? Like a man must be this, 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 and this, whereas a guy will just be like, yeah, she's hot, she's cool, and she's a loyal girl, I'll give her the world, whereas a woman wants 6 foot, 6 pack, 6 figures, this, that, funny, crazy, this, all that stuff. So there's a longer checklist of what a man or that a woman is looking for versus what a man is looking for.
Yeah, but that we were talking about like nurturing kids, I thought.
No, but
okay.
also, no, you just said nurturing. You said nurturing kids. I'm saying in general, women would be considered more nurturing, but also have.
I just think like we have to, like, whenever women have something that describes women that makes them so special and awesome, it's always something that can't be measured. And whenever you measure it, the stats never line up.
Okay.
And so that's an example I'm giving where it's like, if we were more nurturing, wouldn't we be less likely to kill our children?
So just to kind of put a ribbon on this, I said, what's the biggest misconception about you?
Yeah.
You said, well, people think I hate women.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like you speak fondly of women. So what would you describe your relationship with women, if you can sum it up?
What's my relationship like with women?
No, just like the concept of women.
I like women. I like guys,
Okay.
I mean, it's not.
But no, there's no doubt that
I just don't think I think there's a lot of propaganda that says women are these special,
Do you find
amazing.
purpose
Hold
in a
on,
woman?
Nat,
Do
hold
you
on.
find purpose
Let her
in a
answer the
woman?
question.
Like, I just think that there's all of this propaganda that always says women are so special and amazing and awesome. And I just think women are people the same way men are people.
Yeah.
They're special women, they're special men, but I just think as a group, they're just normal people.
Got it. Okay.
But I do think they're more violent than men. I'll die on that hill, actually. Right. Every time I've been attacked, like physically, like threatened, always a woman.
I hope so. It's not a man. I hope not.
Okay. So you don't hate women. You just think they're not special. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I know.
I think most people aren't special. But the difference is men know that, women not as much.
Yeah, I don't see men running around being like, I'm a king, I'm the man, no matter what you say.
No.
For
It's
sure.
like, buddy, you're broke, you're homeless, you live with your mom.
Yeah,
you have 3 socks to your name.
I came to this,
whereas women, they're all queens no matter what their situation
well, and
is.
I came to this conclusion.
I do feel you on that.
I came to this conclusion was I literally couldn't think of one thing that women are better at. I couldn't. Because every time I had to measure it and put a number to it,
I have one thing.
Okay, please.
It's going to be super controversial.
Okay.
Giving birth.
I hope so.
That's kind of
Okay,
the
but hear
one
me out.
thing.
Hear
Women
me
do
out.
create
Hear me
life.
out. Hear
I
me
do
out.
love my mom and my
Hear me
grandma.
out. If men could figure out a way to do it, I would argue they'd figure out a way to do it.
Well, let's hope they don't,
Let's hope
because
they
they're trying to
don't.
have that happen,
Let's let
Pearl.
the role of
Malik, when are you due, by the way?
Never.
Never. Okay, got it. Me too. Okay.
I hope not.
So, moving on. Good to set the tone. I like it. I understand it. You know, anytime that you say, people want to, I'm sure you've been asked this question a million times, but for me, it's sort of unique. The whole Andrew Tate thing. You've been labeled the female Andrew Tate, right? So, I actually personally think that's sort of a convenient analogy. It's easy. He stands for one thing. All right, there's the woman that does this. You know, I don't see many similarities between you and Andrew Tate, literally, other than maybe the traditional role of a woman. So, you know, Andrew Tate, badass, 6 foot. I mean, you're all pretty tall. I'll give you that. You know, 6'2", kickbox champion, multi-millionaire, driving Bugattis, hanging out with hot chicks. You know, body count to
funny?
infinity.
I'm like the cheapest person ever.
Yeah,
too.
he's balling out. You know, he's spending money.
Pearl.
You know, your body count, I assume, is low. You're not exactly driving Bugattis.
Yeah.
You're kind of that. You're not exactly fighting people. I don't know if you've ever been in a physical altercation, or at least recently,
I actually, I'm
Oh,
learning,
really?
I'm learning to box now,
Okay.
you know.
to protect yourself. So I just think that it's a convenient analogy. I get it. I've also interviewed him a handful of times. I think he's the man. You know how I feel about him. But so do you think, why do you think you've earned this nickname? And do you like it? Do you find some contentiousness with it? What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm a fan of Andrew Tate, so I mean, I take it as a compliment. I think if you're more like involved, like you know more about the space, you're familiar with the content, you would see where we differ. Like I've never heard him say women shouldn't vote. You know, I think that's more of a me thing.
So you're more hardline on women than Andrew Tate.
Probably, yeah.
Okay. You're the more right-wing Andrew Tate.
Yeah. Like I think I'm further than him. I was like, I don't know. I was like,
Interesting.
You beat Andrew.
I was like, I don't even know how he feels about this comparison. He's like, I think women should vote. I swear.
Where else do you think you guys differ?
Me and Andrew Tate. I don't really know. Most things I agree with him on, but I would say I've never heard him say women shouldn't vote. I would argue that marriage is a bad deal for men in 2023, and I've heard him kind of flip-flop on that.
Yes, we love that.
I've heard him go back and forth, so...
Interesting that you use the word flip-flop, but you know, I would say that Andrew Tate, since we ended up speaking with him almost 2 years ago to today, and everything that's happened with him is that he's evolved. His opinions have changed. His lifestyle has changed. What the circumstances he's been dealing with.
Yeah, but that's my point, though. Like initially, maybe we might have agreed, but now it's like I don't know if we do.
So it's fair to say that he's evolved.
Yeah.
Right. So look into the future. 2 years down the road, let's say you've been making content for a few years now, you blew up. What do you think that you're most likely to evolve on, ideologically?
I don't know. It's hard to predict the future. I don't know.
Meaning, how about this? Are there some stances like the women can't vote, the women are dumber, the women are that you're like, you know what? There could be an argument made that.
No, because I've always said there's exceptions. Like I've always they never clip this part, but I'll always say there is exceptions. Like you're telling me Ivanka Trump is not better at business than the average man, a woman raised by the president. You know, there's always been exceptions in history. There's always been high IQ women, but they don't make the rule. And I think generally the statements like that you're talking about now, no, I think I don't see those.
Pretty firm on where you're at.
Yeah. But, you know, I'll always change my mind with new information. And I really would like to find something that women are better at. So I'm just waiting.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think Andrew Tate has evolved in the most? We've covered Andrew Tate a lot. What's your opinion?
I mean, I think he's a person who is a strong voice. He's a good influence. I think he's also giving advice through life experience. You know, you kind of see him kind of change perspectives in certain areas, but that comes with, you know, different perspectives. You know, he was in a prison cell. Like, you don't know what goes through your mind during those times, and maybe you value different things. So I can admire that he's firm in some things, but I can also admire, like, new information, as you may refer to. He adjusts and shares his experience. I think that's also keeps that authentic human person. You know, it keeps them like what's the word I'm looking for? Humanism.
Keeping it real.
Keeping it real.
I
sure.
will say one thing. I actually said this to Sneeko over a year ago when he came on the podcast. I said, whatever beliefs you have now, just be prepared for things to evolve. Sneeko was, I think, 24, 25 at the time. As you get older, I think you're 26. Your birthday's coming up in November, I want to say.
Oh, happy birthday.
You're going to be 27. This is in general. It's not even directed towards you. In general, your beliefs should evolve, meaning they could get more, you could double down on your beliefs even more. No, I actually firmly believe this, and I'm going way deeper on it. Or it's like, you know what? I was kind of wrong about that. Let me evolve a little bit. But the whole purpose of life is improving, evolving, reflecting, maybe saying, you know what, I could have done that better. You know, given a second chance, I would do this. So I think you are going to evolve at some point. At some point, you're going to want to be a mother and a wife, and, you know, things might change. I'm not saying that you need to even name that now, but I don't think evolving is a bad thing. Yeah. I think it's natural. No?
Yeah, no, I think opinions change over time.
Okay.
Yeah. But no, I think what you're going to see, if we're talking about the marriage issue evolving on that, you're going to still see the wealthy get married like that. I just see it disappearing from the middle class.
And you think it's more likely to disappear from the middle class?
Yeah, regardless of what I say, to be honest. That's what you're seeing. But yeah, that's what the numbers reflect. Richer men are married at a higher rate, so I think you're going to see it disappear from the middle
we
class.
want prenup. I will say one thing.
And I will say, just from anecdotally interviewing guys, rich men fare a bit better off in divorce because typically they have the ability
guys.
you know, a lot of times wealthy men, if they lose their wealth, they can make it back. Where it's the men that I see on the brink of suicide that have like a tougher time with it are the men that have worked the same job 25 years, have a pension, and their wife takes half. They never recover.
Oh, that's a different reality.
There's a lot of truth in that.
Reality.
Let me get one more take on you. The Tate similarity. First time we interviewed Tate on PBD podcast, PBD and I flew out to Madrid to meet him. This is right after he got canceled. We had the first big interview with Tate after he got canceled. All right, so demonetized, deplatformed, canceled. All the social media companies, Facebook, Meta, Insta, the whole thing, YouTube, Google, Snapchat, TikTok, the whole deal, right? And then it went to payment processors, Square, all that fun stuff. Then it went to Ubers and Lyfts, Airbnbs. It was just canceled. It was a press of a button. But you're no stranger to this. I think you're on your like 8th TikTok account.
Oh, I've given up on TikTok.
So what platforms have you been canceled on or demonetized? And what is it about your message you think that the big tech organizations or digital governments don't want the people to hear?
I've really only lost accounts on TikTok. I've actually been pretty lucky with that. I've never had a YouTube strike. I've never had any. Yeah.
Nice.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow,
I've never had a
that's
YouTube.
awesome.
I've had a warning before, but never a strike.
Nice.
So why do you think it's TikTok specifically?
Well, I got banned on TikTok, so I called a chick a whale.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but she called me ugly first. So it's like if I call you fat back, it's like, well, what did you expect? But I got banned.
So
Isn't that crazy?
what is
Well,
that,
and she was-
violating terms of service?
Yeah, like hate speech.
Fat shaming?
Yeah, because, well, no, she didn't call me ugly. She called me a slag. But I didn't even know what that meant at the time because I was, like, interviewing on the street.
I think you told me.
Yeah. And then
And that was the
that's-
first time that you got...
That was, like, the big account because I almost had 1 million followers on that account. And then I never really, like, rebuilt, and then it would just keep getting banned.
So I want to stay there on the banning thing. Are you on your 8th account right now, or are you even active right now?
Yeah, I don't really use
so
it.
What were the reasons that the second, the third, the fourth? Like, I get the first one. All right, I'm not saying I even agree with that.
Yeah.
And we all know that TikTok is owned by ByteDance, owned by the CCP, allegedly, all that fun stuff. So, but the second time, the third time, the fourth time, the fifth time, what was the reasons for that?
God, I don't even remember, Adam. I mean, it's all, anything that goes against women gets you canceled. The fact of the matter is, for 1,000 years, we've had a gynocentric social order saying women are so special and amazing, women amazing, men bad. And if you go against that narrative, that's when you get canceled.
But I'm trying to understand why TikTok. Meaning, it's not, you said nothing, no strikes on YouTube. No issues. You ever been taken down on Instagram, anything?
Oh, no, I did lose it. I forgot about that.
All right, see,
I
we're getting somewhere now.
Yeah. What did I happen on? I don't even remember. What did I do on Insta? I know it was something on my story, but I literally don't.
But at the end of the day, if you can sum up, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Insta, whatever you're forgetting to remember at this point, what do you think is the message they don't want the audience hearing?
Anything that women aren't special, amazing, and awesome.
Okay.
That's what they come at you
How about
for.
this weird question? Do you think you are special, amazing, and awesome?
No, I think I'm quite normal. I think I'm an average chick in an average world.
Okay, so let's go there. Let's say you're normal. You say you're average. But I don't really interview one-on-one normal average chicks. Like, you could be one of 10 girls on a panel, but I don't do many one-on-ones with special women. So maybe you've built yourself up to being more special. What do you say to that?
Well, I'm good at YouTube, but I think most people, like, I put in a lot of hours into it, so you get good at things that you know, what's it, like the 10,000 hour rule?
Yeah, Malcolm Gladwell.
Yeah, like, you know, if you rewinded this 4 years ago, I wouldn't even be on the show.
So by that logic, this is interesting.
Yeah.
Because I would say that most young men are not special. You know, the whole helicopter moms, you're the best thing ever, you're the beautiful thing.
Right.
But men know that, listen, just because you're 21 and a cool guy, it means nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, you got to make money, you got to look good, you got to act good, you got to dress good, you got to treat women right, you got to be a badass. Like, you got to work your way up in society. Whereas women, it's just like, you can just be 20 and pretty and the world's your oyster. So by men's standards, starting from nothing, doing nothing, you've actually become special because you put in the work. Doesn't work and success and status what makes you special?
I mean, maybe on the internet, I'm not really in, like, it depends from what point of view you're going to talk about. Like, from dating, no. I don't think guys really care about that. But
got it.
I would say in work, sure. But I don't know, Adam, I would even say that most men are more special, amazing, and awesome than women. Because when I look at it, I look at value added to society. Men do the infrastructure jobs. They pay $100,000 more in tax in a lifetime than women. Men add more value to society than women do. And women are just, you know, they're given handout after handout after handout. And then on top of that, told they're special, amazing, and awesome at the end of it.
So I'm digesting this.
Yeah.
Because I'm a man.
Yeah.
I kind of think I'm dope.
So
I
want to give you a stat to back this up. 45% of men do infrastructure jobs. These are jobs that we need to run society. So a lot of times, like what I see in this space, is they basically say you need to become a 1% guy in order to get women. You need to build yourself up, do all this stuff. But we cannot do what we do without the men that build these microphones in the factories. Sure. We cannot do what we do without the average men that run society. And, you know, not everybody is going to be a 1%, 5%. But the truth of the matter is, men add value to society by running the infrastructure. Only 7% of women do the same thing. Then you could look at value added in terms of, you could look at it in terms of protection, right? What percent of women are really protecting society? Like what?
So,
I mean, do you count female cops? I don't even count them.
I hope you don't get pulled over by a female cop when you leave here.
I don't even count
But I will
them.
say this, and I'll validate essentially what you're saying. For the longest time, men, the hardworking men that built our society, industrial revolution, whether it's the construction worker, the plumber, the electrician, the warrior, the military, the, HVAC guy, any guy that's busting his ass in the labor, the guy who's working in the garden, the guy who's working in the field, the lawnmower, like, these are tough jobs. But as technology has advanced, more people have gone from blue-collar jobs to white-collar jobs. Now more men are like, yeah, you know, we have editors, we have graphic designers, we have tech guys, we have people that sit behind computers all day. The ability to build machines to you know, or AI
one of the number one
have basically made some of those jobs obsolete. But I will say this, to your point. Most women, because 60% of college students these days are women. It used to be the other way around, 60% men, 40% women, and now it's flipped. There is sort of a stigma in society, you could speak to this, whereas a college-educated woman, even if she makes less than the plumber, than the HVAC guy, whatever it is, the guy that's working on the toilets, whatever it is, she will look down on that man because he's not a college degree or college, doesn't have a college degree or college graduate, and she would basically, hypergamy, you know, deep-seated stuff, will look at him as lesser. Where I think essentially what you're saying is those are the men who have built society. They deserve respect. Do you feel like those men are being disrespected and pushed aside and looked over by modern women?
I think they're disrespected by women and men, to be honest. Like, I hear a lot of disrespect in this space, like towards the average, you know, calling them broke, saying they don't make enough money, when it's like, really, none of the influencers could do what we do without the average men that build society and run society. And you even said, like, you know, there is still a large percentage of men that do work in factories. I think the number one employment of men in the country is truckers.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the number one employment of men. And it's like, those guys deserve respect and they add more value to society than women do in 2023. I would also argue that there's a bunch of useless jobs that have been put into the workforce, basically that are subsidized by men's money. I'm going to give you an example. The WNBA is completely subsidized by the men.
Oh, we can talk about this for days. Yeah.
I'm gonna have a point though.
Yep.
And basically, what happened is the women will cry and whine and say, "Give me more money, give me more money," and they keep getting more money, more benefits, everything, right? Even though they do not offer value. I mean, no one's really watching the games. No one's really going. It would be a net. I mean, even I did college sports, but all of college sports would operate at a loss, right? I think that happens in society all the time. I think it happens in human resources. I think human resources would disappear tomorrow if women were not in the workforce. The other thing I think that it would happen in is a lot of tech companies. You saw the before and after of Twitter, right? But what you saw the before, have you seen those pictures? Like before and after, like Elon fired all those people in Twitter. You
yeah, of course. When he came in there with the kitchen sink.
All the women were gone because when the rubber hit the road and they needed the people that were actually going to do work, it was not majority women. There was a couple women that made it, but it was not majority women. I think that happens everywhere in society.
So women, education, jobs.
Yeah.
We had your friend Nick Fuentes on, right? And he was adamant women should not go to college, period. They should not go to college, with maybe the exception of certain people that are going into STEM, medicine, law, but he's basically an advocate for that. You went to college, but what do you think? Should women go to college?
I mean, it didn't really help me with much. I played sports, so I really enjoyed college sports. But no, I mean, it didn't help me in the workforce. It didn't really do much for me, I would say. And I studied economics. I actually had a real degree, so. So
I guess the conversation I'm looking for is college overall has become watered down. It's become sort of pointless to many extent. College debt is out of control. It doesn't offer as much value it used to offer. You're not necessarily unique if you go to the 4-year university and you graduate. Hey, I'm college. You're not guaranteed a job. But should women specifically not go to college?
I would say most women shouldn't. You know,
what woman would? What woman would you suggest to go?
Engineering's probably a good degree. You know, I don't think most women want to do it, but
this is the STEM field that I was talking about: science, technology, engineering, math.
You know,
got it. What about work? Should women go back to the pre-1950s and just stay at home, cook, clean, mother, raise the kids, not go to the workforce?
It's so interesting when you look at history and you like. It's actually like hilarious. I think it's so funny when I hear these chicks talk about, oh, I miss the days when we just got to stay home and not work. It's like, bitch, what do you think the 1800s were like? Do you think your life was easier when you were working on a farm? So, you know, I think that women should listen to their husbands. You know, I know women that do work and they work for their husbands. I think it depends on every family's financial situation.
So what
But
happens
I think it's better if the women can stay home. Not every family can afford to do that, you know, but
Well, look, I can kind of agree with you on the
Yeah.
whole listening to the husband thing, but that's not the point. What happens before they have a husband, though? Like,
I mean, you have to eat. Like,
so what should they do for money if they don't work or go to college or anything like that? Like, walk me through the logic. Like, yeah, college is useless. Don't do it. But you still need to work. But maybe you're
well, is she
22
smart?
years old.
Is she smart?
You're not
or
ready to get married.
Is she smart or stupid?
Well, what are most women?
Well, okay. Well, if I was gonna tell like a 22-year-old, I mean, I would get a job where you would want to meet your husband. That's what I would say. So if you want to date a doctor, you know, you work as an assistant at like a medical clinic. That's what I
So
would say.
you should go to work.
I mean, I'm not saying should. I would say
Yeah.
it really depends on the person. So I'm not really into like broad advice, but
Mm-hmm. No, but this is important because I have a lot of
Yeah,
conversations with
advice.
women about this because I actually have a very unique perspective on this,
Yeah.
Pearl. Because, you know, in my old age of 40 plus, 42, I see women that have focused on their careers so much, right? And have done all the high body count, travel, living it up. Beautiful women
Yeah.
who are now 38, 40, 42, 44, still single. And my advice to them is, yeah, you probably should have prioritized a man, marriage, if that's what you want, which
Yeah.
many women do, right? But at the same time, I also give that advice to a 22-year-old, and what's their first thing they say? I don't want to get married right now. I want to live my life. I want to do these things. So how do you give this knowledge to a young 22-year-old girl who's like, what are you telling? My mom told me I should not rely on a man. I need to make my own money. I need to get a degree. I don't care what you say, Pearl. I'm listening to my mom. I'm not trying to get married at 22 years old. Like, if you were having that conversation, which you do with plenty of women, how would you basically get on their level to basically see what you're saying?
oh, I don't. I say if you want to do that, go do it. Have fun.
Okay.
Like I'm not. Yeah.
Do you warn them of what the future would look like?
Well, yeah. I mean, I can go through the antidepressant stats, like the women over the age of 45 that are on antidepressants. You can go through the single childless women statistics, but you know, I'm not in the business of forcing people to live one way or another.
Got it.
But, you know, I can't.
You're
really,
speaking more generalities.
I can't really like put a gun to her head.
Well, let's have some fun. Let's put a gun
Okay.
to Natalia's head.
Let's
Natalia is
Let's not.
26 years old.
Okay.
She's an attractive girl.
Okay.
You guys are similar age. She went to college. She comes from a good family. She works. She works at Valuetainment. She's moving up. For someone like her, specifically, you know, if you could, if Dr. Pearl put on her medical hat, what would you tell Nat?
Well, what outcome do you want?
This is a place that I'm going to find my career, and I probably will meet somebody along the way. And I
Okay.
probably have met someone, so, but yeah.
Oh, okay. She's good.
That's it? That's
Yeah.
how this works? That just
Yeah.
Nat whispers an answer and you agree with it?
Yeah, sure.
That did not sound convincing by either of you right now. Now the men are fighting with the women. So now, what are you solving for?
I mean, long term, this is a company that I want to build. You know, it's a company of opportunity. And I know along the way, there'll be a lot of people I will meet, and I will probably find who I'm looking for along the way. So I am working for
So I think this is important because
Yeah.
you know, in you know, some people say, you know, this isn't advice, but it kind of is, but it's, you know, kind of, I don't know. But at the end of the day, we're all kind of giving opinions, which could be perceived as advice.
If you met a guy that you really liked, would you prioritize that?
Yeah, that would have to be my priority. That's going to be my next chapter in my personal life. So that's an area that I do have to give time and attention.
Okay.
So knowing female nature, you're a woman, you know female nature. What age do you think most women even start thinking about actually settling down, having kids, getting married, all that stuff?
I would say after 25 in modern day. Yeah.
I think that's fair.
Yeah,
I think that's
mhm.
fair. I see a lot of women that get the 30 itch and then, oh my God. So, but prior to 25, you know, how are they eating? How are they living? How are they making money?
What I would say, I would
Yeah.
just say be a virgin, young chicas, be a virgin and get married. That's what I would say. I would say that's the best option if we want to look at you know, if your goal is family and children, that is the best option for you.
Gotcha. So
How would you suggest a woman would court, or how would you suggest a woman get experience? I'm not saying sleeping around, because I'm not condoning sleeping around. But how would you suggest a woman like that, you know, she's been home all her life, to be able to identify this is a man that is going to...
Oh, God, women can't identify. We're terrible at it.
So then that's my point. So what suggestion would you have to those women that stay at home?
I think, like, traditionally, it used to be that the dads would help you. And so the dads would say, these are like 5 guys in town. I think this would be the ideal. All right, so you got a daughter, right? Let's just say.
Okay.
And you say, these 5 guys, they're everything that I think would be good in a husband. Daughter, pick one. Boom, there you go.
So kind of like the Indian culture, where they give the marriage.
Yeah.
They do that in Indian culture.
So I do want to talk about women and the body positivity. We touched on some of the stuff, looks, marriage. You just brought up virgins.
Yeah,
okay?
yes.
This is something that I find fascinating, this conversation about virgin brides.
Yes.
Right? I one of my favorite movies of all time is The Princess Bride. And this whole concept of virginity. And look, you know, in high school and college, maybe I took 1 or 2, right? But at this phase in my life, the last thing I'm looking for me, is a virgin, because I'm a little bit older, right? But I understand that concept. So,
would you consider yourself a traditional guy?
in many respects, yes, but maybe not in certain categories.
Are you like looking to get married the next couple years?
I'm looking to have kids and a girl for sure.
Okay, but no,
Traditional marriage, as far as the government getting involved in my life, I don't know if you know, I was married.
You were married?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I had no idea.
So you go. Well, at the end, you're going to flip it on me, have this conversation. But yeah, I do. I would say that, how about this? I've been pretty traditional, but I'm becoming more traditional, evolving, as we kind of discussed.
Okay.
Would you say you're traditional?
No.
You're not?
No, I wish I was, but no.
How so?
Well, when I think of like a traditional woman, I think of a woman that like, I don't know, I was an athlete growing up.
Okay.
So I was like, I spent like 4 hours a day in the gym. I don't think that's like a traditional.
All right, so you played sports. I don't think that, I mean, in modern society, a lot of girls play sports. How else are you not traditional, but you would love to be traditional?
Well, that's the main thing.
That just you're an athlete?
Well, I think traditional women get married before the age of 25, so.
Okay. So, but the virginity thing.
Yeah, I also think that that's part of it. Traditional women, they're virgins. They wait till they're married. They're typically like they're more raised. Like I just don't see athletes, like female athletics, as being like the epitome of traditionalism.
And you've already answered this. You said you're not a virgin, right?
God, not again.
Okay. No, I mean, it's not like breaking news.
Yeah.
You're not married. This is not breaking news. I get it.
Yeah.
You've said you're not traditional, but you wish you were.
Yeah.
But you're also saying, hey, women, go be traditional.
Yeah.
You're also like, look, I'm not really traditional, but this is what I would recommend for you, right? Mm-hmm. But when it comes to virginity thing, it's actually pretty fascinating to me because I have some stats. Malik, pull that up in a second. Mm-hmm. You said the ideal marriage of 2 virgins is getting married and staying married for a lifetime is good. Mm-hmm. You've said that, right? Mm-hmm. Non-virgin women cause all of the world's problems.
Oh, yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay. So, in the West, specifically, the concept of virgin brides, in my opinion, is so far-fetched today.
Yeah, 4%.
I think it's like 3 or 4%.
Yeah.
So,
done.
I want to pull up these stats. How can we go back in time and recreate this traditional virgin lifestyle? And like, how much does this actually weigh on your mind? That, I'm not a virgin. I wish I was. Like, I don't know. What could I have done different?
A lot more since every show I go on, they bring it up.
Right. Well, why do we bring it up, bro? Because you talk about it. It's not like I think about this. But here, before you answer, look at these stats. Look at these stats real quick. So, punch in a little bit. So, in the 19th century, all you have to do is look at the top number, okay?
Right.
So, in the 1970s, this is when you get married, 21% of women were virgins, okay? By 1980s, it was 17. 1990s, it's 14. 2000s, it's 12. By 2010s, specifically when social media hits the scene, it plummets down to 5%. You said now it's closer to 3%. So Is this, can we put the toothpaste back in the tube, or are we doomed?
You know what's crazy? If you look up 1920, the first sexual revolution was actually in the 20s.
Yeah,
People
women's
think
suffrage, everything that goes along with that.
And so it was actually like 85% in the early 1900s. So think about how far that's fallen in 100 years.
No, we are in full agreement with this.
Yeah.
We are in full agreement. I'm not, like, these are stats. This is not zero opinion.
Yeah.
But, you know, the concept of virgin bride, are we just too far gone that it's, like, we're not, these numbers are trending that way. How do you envision it going from 3% back to 5, back to 10, back to 20?
It won't.
It just won't.
It won't, no. I don't see it going back, unfortunately.
If you can kind of put things in place to make it go back in place, what things would you put in place to influence more of that?
Chastity belts.
Well, I would say women respond very quickly to social shame. When something is socially shamed as a society, that is typically when you see women make changes. For example, and I don't know, you guys have to see this on the show. You just hear women repeat back the same things that they've heard, like in the media. I've heard about Kim Kardashian getting married so many, really, I think the only way to swing it back is the culture and through social shame, but I don't really see that happening. So
yeah, I don't know.
No, but that's my point. So when you guys ask me, you're like, well, what would you tell a 22-year-old chick? It's like, well, I can give them this advice, but I'm not stupid. Like, I know the culture.
Got it.
Right,
you know
but
what
it's
I mean?
good to give also input.
But I don't know, like, if you had a daughter, like, what are you gonna tell them? It's better to have multiple partners or zero partners, or like one partner for life.
I mean, Adam knows where I stand. I say, be a virgin.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just me, but it just, the only reason also why is because to me, it's like you can't handle a level of discipline, and you can't handle a level of like keeping something that's private, you know, like being able to be tempted with something like that. I think that's a level of discipline that's very hard for people to have. So you value it. Yeah. And so for me, I'm not like gonna argue like go sleep around, because that's not what I promote.
Well, and I know chicks that have done it. Like I genuinely know chicks that have that have waited till they were married. I know a couple.
You know, like one.
No, I know. I can think of 3 off the top of my head. I could probably think of more.
Okay, that's the 3%.
Not many. No, it's rare. It's totally rare.
But let me ask you.
But when I look at their outcomes for life, I'm like, well, like they're probably the happiest married people I know, like under the age of 40.
There are stats that show that the less body count you have,
for sure,
the longer the marriage lasts. It's just, again, very far-fetched in society. What do you think about the girls, we've had this on the show a bunch of times, who are born-again virgins? Would you ever consider yourself a born-again virgin, or are you living in reality?
I'm going to start saying that on the shows, I swear to God. No, I don't think you can re-become a virgin. I don't know why they say that.
Okay, yeah, I ask that all the time.
Yeah,
they're like, yeah, I'm a virgin now. It's like, really? How does that work?
Yeah, I mean, I think those chicks, you're going to kind of have a hard time selling a guy on that. Like, yeah, they got it for free, but you, sir, need to marry me first.
Or they're practicing abstinence now.
I mean, you might get a taker. I just think that's a hard sell.
But you also talked about the social shame. You got to shame them into agreeing.
Well, I think we could start by not rewarding it. I think that's step one. Maybe no money, no OnlyFans. Maybe the guys come in, stop marrying the Kim Kardashians, stop giving these women commitment, neon. You know, men used to like shame other simps. You know, Dylan Dennis is really doing a service to the men throughout this country.
But you know, it's interesting because you talk about the free markets and capitalism. I would say the onus is on the men, the simps, the guys who are paying these women. Because if guys stop paying the OnlyFans and the sex workers and the strippers, what have you, then they would stop doing it. But there's a major market for that, so they keep doing it. So at what level does the men have accountability for rewarding these women? Do you have
the same energy for drug dealers?
Do I have the same energy for drug dealers?
Yeah, so if a guy deals drugs, is it the crack addict's fault? Or is it the drug dealer's fault?
I think addiction is a lot different being addicted to drugs than being like, yeah, I just want to see some ass.
Why do we have empathy for drug addiction but not sex addiction? You know, there are studies that say that sex is a need for men. So when you have 1 out of 3 men that are either virgins or haven't had sex in the past year, it's like, it's on the internet. They're going to go somewhere. Now, I don't believe in porn. If this was Pearl's world, I would just ban it all. I would just be like, that's banned, that's banned. But it's interesting how when women make a poor decision, we find a way to blame it on the men. But when men make a poor decision, we blame it on we blame it on them.
So, interesting analogy with the drug dealers, but at the end of the day, it comes with choice. But like you said, you would ban it. Banning is a slippery slope. You know this on your social media accounts. You know this, that you don't want to be banned. So why can you ban speech but not ban activities or ban what people want to do? We saw what happened with prohibition. Tried to ban it. It was reckless, okay? You try to ban people making decisions with their own bodily autonomy, people will react to it. Well, how could you ban something that the market wants? How would that work?
Well, I mean, people are still going to do it illegally, of course, but I don't really want to live in a world like Amsterdam where you can go down the street and get a hooker. And that's really like, you know, have you seen that where the women are like in the front?
I've been to the red light district.
Yes. Yeah. And so it's like, do you really want to be in a society that is so accepting that we accept that? I would argue, no, I don't think the argument should be, well, someone's going to buy it, we should just make it legal. I don't really.
But there's levels to that. And you have a point. I get it, because, you know, there is some validity there. But you're also saying that there's some sort of equivalency to a crackhead to a dude who wants to go to a strip club. I would say that there's nuance to this. There are sex addicts. There are porn addicts, and there's some guys that just kind of want to have a fun night on a Saturday night. Just like with drugs, there's crack addicts and some guys that want to smoke a joint.
I'll tell you what we could make an equivalency to. The 1 out of 3 very, very lonely men in this country. A lot of these men still do jobs that run the infrastructure in society. I mean, you heard Andrew Tate talk about when he did the cam business. Men would send their life savings.
Yeah.
You don't think that's a form of addiction? A form of loneliness? Like, we can't have empathy for that?
Yeah, but whose fault is that?
Everyone's choices in life is their own fault. But my point is, when we were talking about the sex workers, you immediately blame the customers. And whenever women make a bad decision, we have a tendency to blame the men. That was my point.
I'm not even blaming. I'm just saying that it's a free market. So as example, those 1/3 of men, we've seen that stat, 1/3 of men are virgins. I asked myself, well, why are they virgins? All right. Maybe they're young. Maybe they have no game. Maybe they don't have any respect from women because they don't deserve respect. They're broke, they're fat, they're sloppy, they're losers, they play video games, they have no game, they have no skill set. You know what, homie? Hector, maybe you should be a virgin until you improve your life. But
that's a small percentage of men. That's like, if you break down the numbers, that's not the majority. I mean, overweight, sure, but everyone's fat. You know, that's not like a men or women thing. But
I don't feel bad for those guys.
But again,
you feel bad for those guys?
Who I feel bad for is there's 2 groups of men that I have a lot of empathy for.
Yeah.
One is the average men that do not get respect in this country. Again, 45% of men, almost 1 out of 2 men, do a job that makes the country run. And a lot of times, especially in the influencer space, I see this a ton, where we shit on the average men that make this country run. None of us could do what we do without them. The second second group of men that I have a lot of empathy for are the traditional men that do the right thing and get married. And they typically have average jobs, work the same job for 20 years, and then come home one day to a woman that has taken half of their assets. And I've been on the other side of that, and I've interviewed these guys. I have a ton of empathy for them because they have no idea what they are signing up for.
Yeah, no, men definitely need to be forewarned of sort of the pitfalls of marriage. But I'll say this, I'm almost taking like a different angle to you. But I am a man. I consult with men, I coach men. I'm one of those dudes that actually want men and women to win. I'm not that person that's like, men win, women lose, women win, men lose. No, I think we can all win. But hold on, hear me out. Those men, from a macro standpoint, from an economic standpoint, you're absolutely right. The millions of truck drivers, okay, the millions of guys that work with their hands, the millions of plumbers, from a macro standpoint, you're absolutely right. But from a micro standpoint, are you basically saying that I have to respect Carl, the truck driver, just because he drives a truck? What else is he doing with his life? Is he a good person? Is he contributing to society? Is he raising his kids? Is he actually active in his community? Is he practicing philanthropy?
I think,
but it's just because he drives a truck, I don't think he deserves respect. I think from a macro standpoint, I respect what the men do, but I don't think I ever need to respect Carl because he drives 8 hours in a truck every day. So it's very nuanced.
I think it's like a pretty privileged position to be in, honestly, because the average men allow you to do what you do and live how you live. So I think you should treat the people that help you get to where you are with a lot of respect. Yes.
Okay.
Simply for having those jobs.
Just because they have a job, they deserve respect?
I think that you should respect. I'll give you an example, Uber drivers. I couldn't get anywhere without my Uber drivers. Now, it's a normal job, right? It doesn't, it's not like a necessarily hard job to do. But yes, I think the average men in this country that work normal 9-to-5s deserve respect.
So, Elon Musk has a quote that you are paid in the proportion to the problem that you solve. You get paid by delivering value.
Yeah.
So as an example, I work, now I'm not doing this, in the financial markets, okay? I'm a financial wholesaler for a very niche product, and my company, myself, are the best in the world at this one thing called life settlements. We're the best of the best of the best, and we are highly compensated for it. That's how I made my money. That's how I met PBD in the financial world. But very few people can do it, and that's why we're paid a lot. But anybody can drive Uber. Anyone can clean a studio, be a janitor. So the lower level of a job, the less problems you're solving, the less you'll be paid. So, how many YouTubers are out there? Okay? There's tens of millions. How many YouTubers have more than 100,000 subs? 2%? How many have more than 1 million subs like Pearl? Less than 1%. So it'd be like saying, just because you're a YouTuber, you deserve respect. It's like, no, respect is earned, not given. It's you need to establish some credibility and competence in order to get that respect.
I think
so if you own the trucking company, it's like, all right, that guy built the company and hired all the guys respect.
So then
but the guy on his first day of a job, just because he drives a truck, I'm not like, oh my God, respect.
Okay, so do you not respect the employees that work for you unless they work their way up and own the company?
I respect the hell out of them.
But that's the point. I think that you should respect the people that allow you to do what you do. And so you have it here, and I'm also talking about in society as well. So, the Uber drivers allow you to get from point A to point B. Yes, I think they deserve
we're saying the same thing. These guys deserve respect. We just have a different. So you ever given an Uber driver a 5-star?
Yeah.
All the time, right?
Yeah.
You ever given an Uber driver a 1-star?
No.
Never?
No.
How about a 2-star?
Never.
How about a 4-star?
I always just click 5.
Okay, so I'll tell you. How often do you Uber?
All the time.
I Uber everywhere.
I don't even have a car.
I haven't had a car in 10 years, bro. Perfect. Let me tell you something. 9 out of 10 trips, they're getting a 5-star.
Yeah.
You picked me up, you were there on time, you took me to where I was going, cool, awesome, great job, respect. But every 1 in 10 trips, someone's getting a 3-star. Someone's getting a 1 motherfucking star. Why? Their car smelled, they took the wrong route, they were rude. There's a million different reasons, but the point is, I'll respect you. If you do a good job and do the job you're supposed to do, 5-star, homie. All right, great job, Pedro. But if you don't do a good job, sorry, Rick, you just got 1 star. Well, so the whole I'm just going to respect you because you're an Uber driver. At what point does merit and value come into the equation?
See, now you're kind of switching it. You're adding something in where you're well, what about the ones that don't do a good job? No.
Correct.
And yes, we know there are exceptions, Adam.
But you've never given a 1 star.
But my point, I probably would, but I'm pretty easy to please. It's like you get me to point A to point B, I'm happy.
Okay.
But my point is that average men that allow us to do what we do deserve respect. And too many times I see people become successful and get to a certain point and they don't respect the average men that run this country. Not everybody's going to own businesses. Not everybody's going to become a top 5, 10% earner. And quite frankly, we couldn't have the country would not function if everybody did.
100% agree with you on the infrastructure. Men do not get the respect that they deserve in that regard on a macro level. Okay, on a micro level, I think that you have personal responsibility, individual decisions. Let me ask you this one thing. Why do you think that is? Meaning, this is my hypothesis. Prior to the 1980s, 1950s, however far you want to go, women weren't necessarily in the workforce, right? They were relying on a man. So you could be at a small town in Des Moines, Iowa, or Jacksonville, Florida, or, wherever in California. Point is, you could get as an average man, you can get a normal girl. She respects you because she's not working. She relies on you. You pay the bills. An average income could support a family of 2. Normal guy, normal girl, marriage, family, boom. But as women have been empowered, gone to school, made more money, now they've developed I don't really need that $40,000 dude. I make 80 grand. I'm only going to go out with a guy that makes more than me. You know about the hypergamy concept. So is it because women have made more money, they don't necessarily need that man as a provider? And is that the biggest reason that they don't get the respect from the women? What do you think?
I would argue women steal men's money. Actually, I would say they do it through child support, alimony, and government benefits more than anything.
But that's after they get married. In order to get married, a guy has to fall in love and make that decision and be like,
support.
all right.
You don't need to get, you just need to trap
Well,
the
that
guy.
too. Okay.
You just need like get the wrong woman
But,
pregnant.
they say that...
but women it used to be, everything was more family oriented before. So women would work, they would just work like it. If a guy had a farm, the woman would work on the farm. So they would just be working together typically.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how many people are working on farms these days, Pearl?
No, I know these days, but
Yeah.
you were talking about I'm saying it's not correct, this idea that like women didn't like work and contribute to society, not in the way they do now, sure.
Yeah.
But I'm saying in the past, come on, a woman from the 1850s, life was a million times harder than a chick working today. Absolutely. Like Google a day in the life of the Amish.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Could you do that? I couldn't do that.
Well,
I would want to do that.
I see your point. I don't even think we're arguing. I think we're just we're disagreeing on nuance. Everyone's life was harder in the 1850s.
Yeah.
Everyone. The world is so much better, and this is a problem in America today. The world is so much better than it's ever been, especially Western society, so much better. The poverty levels are minuscule compared to where they were 20, 40, 50, 100 years ago. We're inventing problems. We're inventing depression. We're passing out antidepressants like it's, popcorn, whereas life is actually pretty good, right? And women, they're capitalizing on modern society. Should women, dumb it down and not capitalize and just focus on marriage and kids? Or should women be like, yeah, let me go get my money too? How should women operate in modern society?
Well, I would say society would be a lot better if women focused on family and especially family over themselves. I would say, I actually disagree with one thing you said there. I actually don't think that this depression, anxiety, all that stuff, I really don't think it's made up. I think it comes from single mother homes. I think it comes from selfish mothers choosing themselves over their family. And I think that kind of messes you up in the head. A lot of times for life, some people can overcome it, but a lot of times.
Okay, so you've said something about being selfish. Actually, perfect segue. You said a modern female mentality is me before the family, right?
Yeah.
Women file divorce, we all know this. 70 to 80% of the time, especially if they're college educated. Divorce. How do you feel about divorce? You said it should be banned?
Yeah, except for Will Smith, I'll give him one.
So Will Smith.
Will Smith,
Okay.
I grant you a divorce.
So other than Will Smith, when do you condone divorce? Under any circumstances?
I'll give one-sided abuse. I think if they're beating each other, they should work it out. They should just both figure out how to not hit. But yeah, one-sided abuse, I'll give you a divorce. Maybe some adultery cases. Most cheating is a one-time thing. Fun fact.
Okay.
But maybe if he gets another chick pregnant, I might give you a divorce.
So there are exceptions to the rule.
Yeah. The church used to you'd have to give your case to the church, and then they would say yes or no. But they were a lot more picky back then.
So go ham on the women right now, right? I don't think you're gonna have a problem with that. What is it that makes them selfish? Why are they the ones filing for divorce the vast majority of the time? What is it that they're just willing to just cast away their kids, their family, and just succumb to their emotions? What is it?
Oh God, I'm sure you've heard every excuse too. He was holding me back. I'm like, bitch, from what? He gave you kids. No, I mean, women file 70 to 80% of the time, and a lot of times I think it's because they think the grass is greener on the other side. And a lot of times, again, the media tells us we're so special and awesome and amazing, and you're going to find better. And the truth is that most women do not. The majority of single mothers do not remarry. They do not. It's I think it's like 15% actually get a guy to remarry them, 22% get a guy to live with them again. So the majority of single mothers do not have happy endings. And we're not really honest. We don't really tell people these statistics.
Okay, bingo. I think that's a great point and a great stat you just made. We just did a whole panel. Kevin Savo was on. Troy Francis was on. A couple of our friends were on. There was a couple single mothers on the panel. Janelle Gordon, you might know. Janelle, we asked the question to the men. You meet this woman. She's amazing. She's awesome. She's young. She's beautiful. She's charismatic, she's smart, she's loyal, all that fun stuff, but she has a 3-year-old kid, okay? The good news is he was potty trained, would you date this girl? And uniformly, they're like, nah. And then the women with kids obviously stated their case that's like, nah, like a real man needs to step up, all that fun stuff. But you said that only 15% of single mothers remarry?
Roughly. I don't remember if it's like a roughly 15. It could have been 30. Sometimes,
gotcha, but I think that's an important stat to point out because if that's the objective to get married, it'd be good to know that stat.
Yeah, and then 22% get a guy to live with them. But again, that means the majority do not have happy endings. Another stat, if you hit 30 and you're not in a relationship, you're more likely to not have kids than to have them.
As a woman?
As a woman.
Okay, gotcha.
Well, actually, if you hit 35 as a guy, you only have a 15% chance of getting married. I think too many men, they see the game, they're not, I'm not playing with it.
Interesting. Well, I'm going to give you an opportunity to nitpick my dating life in a second, so we got a few more things. But you brought up Jada Pinkett. You said, I'll make a few exceptions for divorce, but certainly women should stick it out, not file for divorce. You'll make an exception for Will and Jada. She has a new memoir called Worthy. We all know what happened with the guy August Alsina years ago on the Red Table Talk.
If your wife has sex with your daughters, if your wife has sex with your daughter's friend, I will give you a divorce.
Yeah, no doubt. So,
right, we can agree. He gets one, right?
Yeah, here's the book right here. She has alopecia, I believe, so that's what it was. So in this book, she describes her romantic past, that she was really in love with Tupac. They were actually, Will and Jada were actually separated for 7 years. And then obviously the entanglement that you mentioned with August Alsina. So what are your thoughts on what's going on with this? If you were Will's guidance counselor, what would you advise him? And if you were Jada's psychiatrist guidance counselor, what would you advise her?
I would tell
Pearl's going to play doctor right now.
I would say, Jada, please stop torturing this man. You need to be by yourself. Yes, it is time for you to die alone. Will Smith, I would also say you should divorce her. Yeah, this is just craziness. This is embarrassing to your family. She's going to keep doing this. She's going to keep making a public spectacle out of whatever you guys go through. So, yeah.
Why do you think he still stays with her? What do you think she has on him? Any man that's been disrespected like this, emasculated like this, has to look in the mirror and be like, I'm freaking Will Smith.
Yeah. Maybe it's just
go listen to some Andrew Tate or Leonardo DiCaprio speeches and figure it out. Why do you think he hasn't done it yet, Pearl?
Maybe
you're an expert. You know.
Maybe it's just cheaper to keep her at this point.
That is a thing.
You know what I mean? It's like, what's on the other side of this? Don't they live separate already?
I have no idea.
Yeah. I think they said they're trying to get back together. I don't know why you would do that. But I think at this point, he's just tired. Yeah.
Just tired of dealing with it and just willing to just roll over and just play dead, basically. And
well, and a lot of guys have been taught that their job is to make women happy. And the truth is, women were never happy.
Yeah.
I mean, they've given us all of these rights, and we still find something to whine about.
It's interesting that you said be happy because, Will Smith famously has said is like, it is not my job to make you happy. You have to make yourself happy. Mm-hmm. And when you figure it out, you can come back to me. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what she's dealing with right now, but it's very interesting. This whole Will Smith thing, after all the embarrassment.
I'll give him a divorce.
It's almost like what's the thing where you fall in love with your captor? What's that called? What's the syndrome?
Stockholm syndrome.
Stockholm syndrome. sort of something like that going on here. She's got some sort of spell on him. Must be.
I don't know.
No man will put up with that much shame and ridicule and embarrassment and be like, that's my wife, dog. I don't get it. I don't get it. And it can't be the money, because even if you have, what's his net worth? Hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
I assume he had a prenup. Even if not, here's $100 million for you. I'll keep $100 million. Dude, it's Will Smith. There's something there. She's got some
secret.
something on him, some secret.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's pause for a second. Nat has some super chats. We have a few more questions with our friend Pearl. We're having some fun. We're agreeing. We're disagreeing. But it's all respectful. It's all love. Then we'll get some more questions with Pearl. Then she's going to flip it on me for the last part of the show. Nat, I know you're practicing your reading skills. Hooked on Phonics worked for Nat.
Yes.
Go ahead, read them out, and let's see what this chat's having to say.
Awesome. And then Malik, you can help me read the poll answers if you want. Okay, cool. Well, shout out to you guys. Thanks for the super chats. We've got a few of them. First one is Beaten Cheeks. Thank you for the super chat. Is he in your chat?
Yeah.
I know he's in your chat.
That's our guy.
He said, Pearl's for sure annoying and avoids real debates, but respect her annoyance because she speaks for the weak men, and in return, she catches women's attention. I hope she gathers a good female following to make her a real change in society. Thanks, Beaten Cheeks. That was a good one.
Mr. Cheeks.
Then we have a few other... Okay, we have Uncle Luke. He said, sorry, Adam, I got to give you an L on your take about the truck drivers. I'm not a truck driver specifically. It's all about the blue-collar men who keep the U.S. going that gets no respect, Uncle Luke. Then we have a few smaller chats. They're $1 when we go through them?
Nope.
I don't think so. Okay, well, thank you guys for the super chats. We're going to be going through like the $10 and up one, so give us some good chats. Give us some good questions. We've got Pearl in the house, so I think it's a great time to connect.
Pearl, let's do some rapid fire, because
Okay.
I want to save some time for you to ask me some questions at the end, because I know that's what we wanted to do. So marriage. Marriage. So, you've had some hot takes on marriage. I don't need to go over everything you said, but marriage isn't marriage anymore. We've talked about the level of wives not honoring their husband, and you've obviously warned all the men of risk of marriage. But I want you to dream with me for a second, Pearl.
Okay.
Dream, close
All
your
right.
eyes, dream with me. You want to get married one day, I assume, right? So paint your perfect life, right? Your ideal husband. What does he look like? What does he act like? What does he sound like? Dream this dream with me, and give us that ideal lifestyle.
It's going to be such a corny answer. I want to marry someone like my dad. That's like usually what I'd say.
Describe your dad.
My dad, he's a really hard worker and very like logical, because I don't know, my life can get obviously kind of crazy. So I always like it's just such a nice, I don't know, it's such a nice feeling when you have someone you can go to for like guidance. I'm tall, so I'd like ideally tall.
All right, how about this? What's the minimum height?
Like 5'10".
Minimum.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
But you're
How tall
6
are you?
foot.
6 foot. Yeah.
Okay, so you like the
So you'd go
short
shorter.
Yeah, well, I mean, taller ideally, but,
Okay.
I
How about
think-
this? Ready?
yeah.
I played this with multiple girls. Here, let's play the game with Pearl.
Oh, wait, Catholic.
Okay.
Yeah, Catholic.
So Catholic
Yeah.
priority. Catholic. Put these in order. It's sort of juvenile, but I think it'll help describe what you want. You know, hold a 6-6-6-6 game. You played this
Yeah.
before. 6 figures, 6-pack, 6 foot, 6 inches. Put those in hierarchical order of importance. 6 foot, 6 inches, 6 figures, 6-pack.
I guess I've always wanted athletic kids, so probably the 6 foot.
Okay.
And then
you just said 5'10".
Well, I was going off of what you said.
Got it.
You said the
Okay, 6
sixes,
foot.
so,
got
yeah.
it.
Then I guess the money next, maybe.
Okay,
And then,
6 figures.
What was the other one? You said the 6.
6-pack, 6 inches.
I get the 6-pack, I would say.
6-pack, and then what's last?
Those are the 4 options.
Yeah,
right?
so last is 6 inches?
That's the only one left.
So you're okay
right?
with a short man? You know the song, We Don't Want No Short Man?
Gosh, this is so uncomfortable.
I mean, this is your husband, Pearl.
I mean, I don't think that's the most important thing.
Wow. Most girls say, ready, 6 figures and 6 foot first.
Okay.
Then they say the 6 inches thing, and last is the 6-pack. You know, Nat said she wants a wealth belly. So here's what I got. Here's your ideal husband. Does he want to have a beard or no beard?
No beard.
No beard.
Yeah.
Clean shaven. So we want a clean shaven, Catholic, ideally 6-foot man who makes good money, with decent shape. Not that important. But you know, he doesn't have to be long dong silver or anything like that. He just needs to be traditional, devout Catholic man. Fair to say?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
All right.
Do you have like a type? Like, do you have a type?
What's your type?
Or you kind of like
black
whatever,
guys,
like,
white guys,
it's okay, like,
Latinos. You're in Miami. You're doing some salsa
What's
dancing.
your type, girl? Like,
Yeah.
what are you into?
Great question.
I like light eyes.
Okay.
So I like
That's a quality for
light
me.
eyes, nice
Okay.
smiles. I
Okay.
would say.
Good teeth.
Yeah, good teeth.
Okay. Do you like somebody like, you know, like what's your
I'll
type?
either date guys that are like funny, or they're like really good, like they're kind of like the quiet, like good listeners. I would say those are the two. Does that make sense?
Girl.
Like
I
they're
got
either,
you.
like,
I know your
yeah.
type. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, but I kind of like, it's like a plus if they come from like a similar background to me, like bigger family, Catholic, like that's kind of a...
I mean, you have 10 kids in your family.
Yeah,
That's
okay,
no joke.
I don't expect it to be that big, but it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of nice when someone has like the same background as you.
It is.
You know?
It is, because I'm Catholic. So
Yeah.
when I mean, I'm like, oh, I'm Catholic too.
You know, and so...
It's a nice
you know,
familiarity if you
like,
grow up in that, especially. So
yeah.
it's a
Okay,
nice
so that's
to
we're talking about a men. You know, I always say one of the things is that men needs friends.
Yeah.
Okay, I famously said every man needs friends. Every man needs good friends. But what's better than that is having rich, good friends.
Yeah.
Okay, but the best thing about that is having rich, good friends who are actually good people, or what we call menches. So I want to know, obviously you've taken a stance on women, get it. What's your female friend situation like? Are you still friends with all the girls you grew up with? Are you making new female friends? Is it a lot harder for you to get along with a lot of women because of some of your hot takes on women? What's your friend status specifically with women?
Well, so I have friends on my volleyball team. Like I have a couple. I've just never, to be honest, it's not really new for me not to have like a ton of female friends. I've always just had like 1 or 2 and I'm okay. Like I just don't need a ton of female friends. You know, I've just always been the type that's been really into my hobbies. Even when it wasn't YouTube, like I was really into volleyball. I spent a lot of time doing that. So yeah.
So who do you confide in? Who are your close? Like who are you closest with, other than family? Obviously, you're real close with your parents. You got you're one of 10. Outside of family, who are you like? Oh, those are my people.
Well, I have one friend I've been friends with since like pre-K. So I talk to her a lot. And then there's girls on my volleyball team. You know, I have friends at work. So.
Got it.
Yeah.
So there's no shortage of friends, but the close ones, it's very few.
Yeah, I mean that's just always been how I've been. Like I've always just had like a couple, and that's just been okay for me.
Got it. What do random strangers come up and say to you? Like for instance, people come up to me like, "Hey, bro, Saz, love it. I love your interview. Hey, what that?" And some people be like, "Bro, I fucking hate you, but I gotta take a picture, man."
Yeah.
All good, dude. Thanks. What's the most common occurrence when people come up to you on the street? I assume you get recognized a bunch.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, after the Tate interview, that's one thing I get a lot. Like, what was Tate like?
Yeah. Same
Sure,
thing here.
Yeah. Another one I get is, do you really believe what you say? And I'm like, yes, I do. I think I mean it even more in real life.
You're like, I love that question.
Got it.
Do you believe what you say? And I get a lot of I get a lot of thank yous from guys that have been going through the family court system. So that's one thing. They basically like thank me for bringing attention to those issues because it's just not something that I would say is mainstream.
Interesting. So would you say you get more people come up to you that, Pearl, I love you, or Pearl, I hate you? If you had to give,
definitely,
or give a ratio.
Definitely fans. You know, I can really only count. I've only maybe had 5 times someone's have come up to me and like screamed at me. In like 2 years, that's not so bad, right?
Not
Year and a
bad.
half, I don't know.
It's actually very good. Because if you look at the comments out there, you're gonna think that everyone hates you, right?
Yeah, no, not in real life. I'm sure some people come up and like they actually aren't. Like sometimes you get the feeling where they're not actually fans. They're just like saying they are, you know?
They just say,
Yeah.
Last couple hot takes with our friend Pearl, and then she's gonna flip the script on me. Body positivity movement. We've seen a lot of that these days, right? You see the Victoria's Secret, and they just came out with a new documentary, The Biggest Beautiful Thing. You've, called women whales, right? You've made shirts about this.
No, I didn't actually put those shirts out. I wanted to, but no.
But I've seen the shirts. I don't know if you sold them.
No, I didn't.
Gotcha. So fat shaming, we get it. But for men, I don't know if you know this, the military is actually 70% overweight, right? Overweight. So this whole concept of acceptance and tolerance and just let people live, that's a slippery slope right there. I believe in accountability. I believe in truth. So we both agree that this obesity thing is a big deal and needs to be dealt with. It is sort of becoming more common in society. Now, I know you don't think that women make great leaders, but we're going to play a game. President Pearl Davis, President of the United States of America.
Yeah.
Go ahead, wave to the camera real quick, Pearl.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Give him a wave. Hey, guys, vote for Pearl. How would you tackle this obesity epidemic in America?
Yeah. The obesity epidemic. I don't really know. I would probably start maybe with the foods, like putting, because don't they like poison the birth control water? Isn't that a thing?
I don't know.
I've heard there's like birth control in the water, and that's kind of messing everything up. So I would ban birth control. That's number one.
Okay. Go out.
Number two, I was thinking, what if men could only get, like the women could only get a ring if they were like 150 pounds or less?
So in order to get the ring, you got to be less than 150. Yeah. What about after you got the ring, you get pregnant, you never lose the weight?
That's fraud.
So what would you do on that? Is that grounds for divorce?
Oh, yeah, that's
okay,
fraud.
so that's another exception.
That's fraud, yeah. I think that's fraud. The same way like a guy can't just stop working,
Got it. What else? Anything else you would add to the...
I would ban Lizzo from all billboards and like media.
Nat, I told you once that you looked like Lizzo and that you're beautiful like Lizzo. And what did you say to that?
I went on my rant about it.
What did you say to that?
Don't insult me.
You're beautiful like Lizzo.
Thank you, but don't insult me.
You look like Lizzo.
I'm good. Thank you.
Why not?
Natalia. Just because. Okay. We already did this.
Got it. No, I understand. But I do think that there's something going on in society where you can't comment on something that is obviously off. Right? So I got in an argument with a lady friend of mine the other day where we were in Miami, and this lady had a full-on beard. Okay? It was clearly a trans situation going on, 5 o'clock shadow, and then some. And I said, yikes, that's not a good look. Something like that. She goes, you can't say that. I said, why not?
Sorry.
Because that's mean. I said, well, yeah, I know, but that lady's got a fucking beard. What do you want me to do? She's like, just keep it to yourself. You can't say anything nice, don't say it at all. I go,
oh gosh.
Yeah. But the lady's got a beard, honey. Okay, and then we got in this whole argument of what you can and what you cannot say, and we came to the determination that I could say what I want to say, but I'm an asshole. I go, then maybe I'm an asshole, but that lady has a beard, okay? And I'm going to double down on that. So where does that go to? That goes to all the, I can identify as anything I want. It's like, okay, where does that slippery slope go? Hey, no matter how big you are, nobody can call you out on being clinically obese. Hey, can't say that, right? So there's this something going on right now where it's like, if you don't like what someone has to say, cancel. Can't say that. I think the reality is people can say whatever they want to say, but the downside of that is maybe they called an asshole. So I think you should be able to call women whales all you want.
Thank you.
Maybe you're just being an asshole.
Thank you. I actually think I'm being very kind and nice. No, really, because they might not know. What if they don't know?
Pearl.
No, I don't think
just
they
like
know.
that lady knew she had a beard.
No,
People
I
have
think-
mirrors.
I think.
Different.
I mean, if they
different.
knew, they wouldn't be putting their blubber everywhere. That's what I say. If they really knew, they wouldn't be in these bikinis. They wouldn't be showing their blubber on social media. They think they look good.
I think they
Out
know.
of the kindness of my heart, I'm letting them know that they do not.
But I think they know, but I think today it's being praised. Because I'll tell you this, any woman who's got extra weight on her, you know you got weight on you. Like, it's very clear to feel it. You do things differently, your clothes fit differently, like your confidence is different. So these women know it. It's just a matter of it's being praised today, I think.
Yeah, I thought of a law. See, I wish I knew that question because I would have thought about it all day. I would ban plus size clothes.
Huh. So we'll just have a bunch of fat people running around naked?
Yeah, no,
That seems a little counterintuitive,
they'd be in the
Pearl.
house. They'd be in the house on the tread. They can keep the clothes they have, but yeah, like I can't like get rid of them. But from now on, we're not catering to you guys anymore. No plus size seats on planes. You just can't fly. Get on the treadmill, start running. No plus
Or pay
size
for 2
clothes.
seats.
No.
I know you
let's not do that.
I know you famously said-
you just can't fly.
I know you can't even over a certain weight. I know you famously have said that women shouldn't vote. What should fat women be able to do?
I mean, what are they? What
Certainly
they,
can't vote,
I
right?
mean, they certainly don't do much now. It's clear by their
Wow.
body. Like,
How many obese bigger women come up to you and be like, "You motherfucker"? Like how many come right up to you and get all up in your face?
I've never even had any. To be
Wow.
honest, I
Okay.
can't. Yeah.
The internet. Okay. Couple last
Have
questions.
we? Yeah, I don't think so.
All right. Couple last questions. Looks. Look, you know, I make no mistake about it. I love pretty women. Okay?
Yeah.
The prettier the better. But also pretty on the outside and pretty on the inside. All good. You know, one of the most shocking things you've said is that you've tweeted this as one of your most viral tweets. You said the older woman she is, the less attractive she is, right? You've also said a 16-year-old chick is hotter than a 26-year-old chick, right? You also said you'll stand by that statement. So do you still stand by that?
Yeah, in general, to be honest, I mean, they get fatter. You know, all I did was look up the age of consent. It's 16, so don't blame me, blame the laws.
Yeah, I found that out with Russell Brand. That I
Yeah.
thought it was 18, but that's 34 states in America. It's 16
Yeah.
plus. A couple are
And
17, a couple
I'll
are
tell
18.
you what inspired that tweet. I saw
Yeah.
a picture of myself at 16. I was like, damn, I was like a little hottie back in the day.
So you think you were hotter at 16 than you are now?
Oh yeah, no, I was.
What,
Yeah,
bro?
Me,
oh
girl.
yeah. Now you can.
Really?
Actually, I didn't want to keep playing into this because that's just such a touchy topic. Like,
Yeah.
but I almost tweeted a side by side and said, where do I look better?
Wow. Okay.
But
So-
yeah, no. It's
Last couple things that I want to get your consent to this. We're going to go to kind of like some criticisms of you.
Okay.
And then we'll move to me. So
We'll go to him after.
this isn't that bad.
Yeah,
I
it's not
promise
bad.
you. Okay.
Alright.
But you know, you have haters. I have haters. We all have haters. So
Yeah.
this is what I would call Pearl response to her haters. Okay. So our mutual friend Destiny.
oh, okay.
Okay. He said that, quote unquote, Pearl's been falling off and she doesn't offer much in terms of individuality that people would want to stick around for. Okay. This guy, Jay Aubrey, he put a hit piece out on you? Did you see this?
No, I didn't even see
Okay.
it.
He calls you the unpickable pick me. Okay. I don't
Okay.
even know what does that even mean. Okay. He says she doesn't say anything inspiring or insightful. She only appeals to hatred and anger. On Pierce Morgan, you had a interesting banter with the woman who said she's a moment in time, right?
Yeah.
She's a train wreck and they can't look away, but Pearl will disappear like many others before her. So these are their opinions, okay? Why do these people love to hate on you?
I don't know. You have to ask them.
Okay.
They probably got nothing better to do. So, yeah. Destiny, it's interesting because he said that, but I was just on Pierce Morgan before I left. So let me know when you get on national TV, my friend.
Gotcha.
You know?
So you're basically saying the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice try, buddy.
But, you know, I will say that, I mean, everybody has ups and downs in their career. So do I think, you know, at some point I'm going to get married and have a family. So,
Okay.
yeah, you know.
So the last thing here, you know, we all have critics. Believe me, I have critics, especially on the PBD podcast. I've given some hot takes. So you're not immune from criticism. I think that's fair. And believe me, Pearl, the bigger you get, the more criticism you'll get. Yeah. A lot of women will basically say that what you've done is sort of contradictory, right? You're not married, but you advocate marriage, right? You're not a virgin, but you say you should be a virgin. You say that women necessarily shouldn't work and go to college, but you've gone to college and you're the CEO and you're running a very profitable, well-known company. So what would you say to the women out there who are basically saying, well, she's kind of a hypocrite, she's doing the opposite? What's your message for the women out there who are basically saying, you're saying one thing but doing another? What would you tell the women out there?
Is what I'm saying true or false? Is what I'm saying true? I say don't shoot the messenger. Let me know if it's true. You know, I actually think everybody's a hypocrite to some degree. I think there's some choices I would definitely change if I could go back, but yeah, sure.
Okay. Pierce Morgan, last question and we'll go there. So, you know, when you were on there, he kind of ambushed you, right?
Yeah.
You know, the video, like you were shocked when he brought that up right there, okay? Yeah. We started off the conversation, it was kind of an ambush, but you do talk a lot about Western society and Western women and modern women versus the East, you know, Andrew Tate, what he kind of sees out there. He kind of brought up the Nick Fuentes thing. I've had Nick Fuentes say, I was told by multiple people, don't interview this guy. I'm Jewish. Yeah. He's allegedly, racist, white supremacist, anti-Semite. You know, I thought we were very fair with Nick, no doubt, okay? But he said some pretty shocking things. But Pierce sort of blindsided you with that. I'm not getting into the whole song and all that or anything like that. But obviously the biggest topic in the world right now is what's going on in Israel and Palestine and in Gaza and Hamas. Not that you're this expert on this type of situation, but in light of these newest events, how should the Western world, we're part of the Western world, USA, UK, respond to something like this at this time?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't know.
Nothing.
No, I don't have an opinion on that. Like,
okay.
I'm just not, I don't know much about like foreign politics. It's just not my, it's just not my wheelhouse.
Gotcha.
So you would probably have to talk to someone that knows something.
Well, let me ask you this.
This is what I keep seeing. I keep seeing both sides like tweet really horrific pictures and then both sides say the other side's faking. That's what I see.
Okay.
And then both sides, like, I just don't know. It's so complicated and messy. I just really don't have a opinion on it.
Fair enough. Would you do know that Hamas, as an example, is according to the United States and many countries in the world, a terrorist organization?
I do now. Yeah.
You didn't know that?
No, I'm telling you, that's not my wheelhouse.
Got it. Okay. Well, in my opinion, it's the equivalency is madness. It's like if USA starts killing ISIS terrorists, okay? Do we say, well, look, it's both sides? It's like, no, the United States is killing terrorists, right? So Israel, defending itself, is killing terrorists. Now, what they're trying to do is encourage civilians to get the hell out of the way, right? But Hamas is basically using human shields to stay in the way to protect them. So, again, I know you're not interested in foreign affairs and foreign policy, but there's something going on over there that is pretty wild. But I respect the fact that you don't have a hot take on this. Okay, so we've got about 10 minutes left, 15 minutes left.
Yeah.
So I know you wanted to flip the table on me.
Yes.
Ask me some questions.
Yes.
Nothing's off the table.
Nothing's off the table.
Nothing's off the table. Just like I asked you every question, you didn't tell me anything was off the table. You can ask me anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fair game.
All right. Have you? Okay. What is the biggest thing you've learned from doing these shows?
The biggest thing I've learned from doing these shows.
Yeah. Interviewing so many people has given me a different point of view on the world. Yep. Has that been the same for you, or is your worldview pretty much the same?
Absolutely agree with you. That everybody deserves respect. I know we talked about that a lot. And one of probably the most poignant example of that was I interviewed a guy called Daryl Davis. Do you know who that is? He's the black musician that a lot of times plays in the South, and he befriends the KKK members, and over time convinces them to, not even convinces them, sparks something within them to leave the KKK, to the point where they will take off their cloak and hoodie and give it to him and say, I was totally wrong about you. Think about that. A black man sitting down in the South, still to today, convincing or sparking something within KKK members to say, you know what, I was totally wrong and I'm denouncing this. And as a symbol of trust and friendship, here's my hoodie. And what does Daryl Davis do is see if you can find an image of him. He keeps, I think it's hundreds at this point, of KKK outfits in his closet to signify this is what I've done. What's my point? I interview, whether it's this show, whether it's on PBD podcast, a wide array of people, just as you've done as well. And what I've realized is that these people have come to their determination and their opinions, and they have different ideological views based on something, whether that's right or wrong. There he is right there, okay? Daryl Davis, sitting there with the KKK guys. And the best thing you can do, and this is why I'll give you so much credit, is ask questions. Anytime that you say, this is how you should think, this is how you should operate, this is how you need to do, live your life, people aren't going to resonate that, and they're not going to listen to you. But if you say, okay, like for instance, I had a conversation with a full-on socialist, right? Young girl. She had no clue what she was talking about. I say, if you and Bill work at the same job, but he works half as hard as you, do you guys deserve the same pay? She's like, no, that doesn't seem fair. I go, no, well, you guys are, you deserve the same pay. And she had to wrestle with these minor questions in her head, and she had to come up to the conclusion, like, you know what? Maybe the harder you work and the better you do in a meritocracy, you should get paid more. And that's how you should get a raise. It goes, yeah, exactly. It's kind of capitalism right there. So she had to come up with this on her own. I couldn't be like, capitalism's the best, socialism's the worst, and that's my opinion. I had to pose questions for her to answer this. That's exactly what Daryl Davis did with these people. He's asked questions. Well, why do you think I'm dumber than you? Right? Well, why do you think this? What would you do if I did this? And people have to come to their own conclusion. So the biggest thing that I've come away with, to answer your question, is I respect everybody, whether I agree with them or disagree with them. But at the end of the day, I try to find the truth in the situation. Like you said, I don't shame women. I just look for the truth. So yeah, respect.
Has it influenced your dating life at all?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm way more upfront with women at this point. So as you know, guys out there, a lot of times guys will slow play it, especially with hot chicks. Sure, babe, whatever you want, no problem. All right, cool, I'll take care of this, I'll take care of this. And you slow play it, and you slow play it, slow play it. There's actually a book, I'll take care of this, I'll take care of this. And you slow play it, and you slow play it, slow play it. There's actually a book that PBD gave me called 101 Questions to ask before you get engaged, okay? So I will hit women with questions right now. How many kids do you want? When do you see yourself getting married? If I pay all the bills, what are you gonna do? Okay? All these types of questions is a vetting process. So it was a girl that I was seeing, this is a couple months ago, 30 years old. I go, oh, when do what age would you want to get married? She goes, I don't see myself getting married. I go, do you want to have kids? Nah, no kids. I said, you are officially now in the fun bucket. That doesn't mean I just broke up with her. I'll do my thing for a little bit. But if a girl is like, I'm 1,000,000% convinced that I want to have kids, whether I want to get married to the government, all that kind of stuff like that. Again, I did that in my early 30s, and that's 10 years later now. I'm convinced that I want to have kids, so I'm solving for that. So my biggest thing right now is who's going to be an amazing mother. Okay, so there was a girl that I was dating before that who was 34. Okay, and I said, listen. Another girl I was dating before was 24. I could take my time with a girl like that, right? At 34, it's like, we're either doing this now or never. And she's like, well, I don't know. I was like, all right, great knowing you. So I think it's just being very intentional, knowing what you want, knowing who you want to be, and solving for that.
Would you guys ever date?
We're dating right now.
Wait, really?
What?
Wait,
no, I'm totally kidding. Nat is like my little sister. I love the girl to
Yeah.
death.
I feel like everyone thinks you guys are dating.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, everyone always says that, but no, Adam plays his role in my life, but not.
To be
not
honest
for
with
that.
you, to be fully honest with you, Nat, how many different girls have you seen me out with?
Many.
Okay. Gentlemen, get yourself a wing woman.
I'm a great wing woman. I'm not gonna lie.
That is just down to be a team player.
Yeah.
Nat is actually, I've met the men in Nat's life as well.
Yeah.
We'll leave it there. But when I go out, I actually go out with 2, 3, 4 girls.
Yeah.
Maybe a buddy or two. It's great to have women when you go out. I know you're not a big
Yeah.
partier going out. You know, I was born in a club in South Beach. Like, it's in my blood, Pearl. Okay? You know how tradition and families, like, I'm trying to get that out of my blood and get into the family life, be more like you.
Yeah.
But no, Nat's a great wing woman.
Yeah. No.
What do you think of the girls you've met?
I mean, I don't really put too much thought into it. I think he's just doing his thing, you know, going through his process.
No, I mean, is there one that you've met that you could see him like marrying?
I mean, that's not really my place.
Stay in your lane, Nat. Stay in your lane, Nat.
I let him
You
do
said
his
anything.
thing. It's his process, his journey. He's also the same, like question you asked, you know, these conversations, it changes the way you date.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you bring people around, it makes you question certain things. And that was even kind of how we were, like, asking, you know, like, how are you dating now with all these things? Like, immediately, I know when I first started in this space, I got to a point where I was like, oh my gosh, he's a simp. Like, he said this. And then I'm like, wait, Natalia, like, you have to come to reality. You know, people are people. You know, get to know them. So sometimes I think it's important to just let people also go through their process. You know, he date who he dates. And I think him going through that as well, when he finds a woman, I think I will see a different side of Adam, too.
I was just curious if there was one that you like liked a lot or something.
No, I don't really make that. I just let him kind of just, oh, hey, nice to see you.
Most of the girls she's seen me with, it's been like, I've seen him once or twice
Yeah.
or whatever.
Nothing like super.
Not that I'm like being like Playboy
you just
International.
mentioned kids, so I was like, I was just
No, I don't really
curious.
like talk to the girls like that. That's not my place. It's not for me to do that.
She gives them a hug, tells them they look pretty.
If you
and
need
then
anything, let me know. Like, I'm just co-host. That's it.
Yeah.
So.
And what about? You said you met some of the guys in Nat's life. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What did you think of them?
I think Nat deserves a great man.
You guys seem like you'd be perfect together.
Yeah, Nat.
You should just-
What's up?
you said
we have our place.
You said at work.
Nat
This
has
is
dated a
like-
friend of mine, so she's officially off limits, 100%. I don't,
Yes.
cross that line whatsoever. Zero.
Yeah.
Zero.
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 Ever.
Zero. 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 But I will say that to men that come into Nat's life, I will say she's a good girl, treat her right, step the fuck up, or kick rocks. Because I think she deserves a good dude.
Thanks, Sauce.
So, there you go.
Aww.
I got her back. Now you gotta have the conversation with the girls I with. Adam's the man. You
But
better fucking.
Well, when you make certain girls certain priorities, then that becomes more of like, hey, let me kind of pour into her as well, kind of mend that as well.
Thank
but
you.
it's not going to be something I start.
Pearl, let me
Okay,
ask
have you-
Okay, let me ask you one thing.
You've been asking me all show. You've been asking me all show.
I want to get your advice on me.
Yeah.
Okay.
42, single, successful, millionaire. What should I be looking for in the dating scene
A
out there?
22-year-old homeschooled virgin.
Really?
There you go.
What about 22, not a virgin, but willing to be trained?
I mean, in this market.
That's a good one.
Take what you can get.
Yeah. No. I mean. Yeah. 22, willing to be trained. That's a good start.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I
we'll
agree.
date.
I agree with that. Okay, you got a couple more questions. Go for it. Nothing's
Have
off
you
the table.
ever hated someone that's been on the show?
Have you ever hated somebody that's been on the show? No.
Have you ever?
No,
have you
Adam's
Zero.
not like that. He's not.
Zero.
Like, people can say stuff
about you?
Adam. Yeah, I've had my opinion on some people, for sure.
Yeah.
But Adam's the type to not have, like, you can hate Adam and he's cool with you. He's not like I'm trying to get you. Like, he's just a people guy.
Yeah.
Me, I can sometimes, like, my emotions get in the way. I may not like the way you treat me. And sometimes you get a reaction out of me because of that. But at the end of the day, Adam's not that. I'll give him that. Adam is one guy that's like, I don't have a problem with anybody.
Even the
I'm like,
guys that allegedly have a problem with me.
yeah, Adam does not pay
Zero
nothing.
beef with them.
Nothing.
And you know some of these guys.
Yeah.
Zero beef whatsoever. I'm not even going to be like, well, you know this one guy. Zero. Now, if they have a problem with me, hey, bro, it's all good. when I tell you genuinely, and there's been some dust-ups over here, zero issues with these guys. I get it. What I will say is this. It is, you know, a lot of criticism I get is like, if a girl on the panel pushes back at the men, it's like, Adam, you got to defend the men. It's like, well, do you defend all the women?
Yeah.
You don't defend, all right, it's like, it's not my job to defend a grown-ass man from something they've said. But at the same time, if I disagree with someone, I'll say, I don't know about that, bro. But when I tell you, I don't know if there's someone you have in mind, I don't care, but zero beef. There's no one I'm like, oh, that one motherfucker, zero. And I think that's how I operate. Now, if someone completely does me dirty, that might change. But if it's little, you know, these social media dust-up YouTube, you know, type of situation, zero beef whatsoever. And I've had my little, you know, points of friction, zero drama. How about you? Is there anyone that you hate or have major drama with?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Name names,
Top
Pearl.
3.
That I've hated from my show.
Yeah.
Anyone that's watched my show for a while, Esther. Oh, this chick showed up in my apartment in the middle of the night. It was crazy.
What?
Right.
Yeah. Anyone that's like actually followed it. It's
What
like
about
this,
content creators?
Oh, not really. I'm sure there's been people that have rubbed me the wrong way, but no one that like I can really think of that
Anyone
I
that
strongly...
you respected and you've lost respect for, let's say?
Not that I can think of.
Okay, so we're on the same page. Other than Esther, we're getting along with people.
No, and there's this other there's a couple girls that I banned.
Okay.
I'm like
Any men?
And not that it was super bad, but like most of the storm outs or like the extreme disrespect has been from chicks. I've kicked a couple guys out. Like they kind of get annoying if they just don't answer. Like they come in, they won't answer any questions. It's just like, all right, get.
Yeah, no.
It's like, what are you here for?
I've only kicked one person out. This trans woman named Vincenza. I had to kick her out. But other than that, if someone sits here and they're quiet, I'm more the type of person to just keep leaning on him and clowning him. I'm like, oh, bro, you're killing it today, buddy. All right, great job. Like to a girl, oh, great insight, like that.
Yeah.
I'm not the one to be like, get the fuck out. You know, so that's some of the criticism that I take is that I'm too nice to certain people. But genuinely by nature, I'm not that dude that's like, fuck you, bitch. I don't like, I'm just like, you're an idiot. Good luck in life and have a great day. Like, I'm not there to like dunk on women, but at the same time, I will call them out for their delusion tendencies.
Well, I get the same thing where they don't feel like I control the panel well enough, but it's really hard. It's
hard.
And especially like, I think as a chick, it's not as much in our like nature to do that. So it's like, I'm so tired of panels, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm just getting started, Pearl. What do you mean? Why are you tired of it?
It's more, I don't know. I really want to do more documentary stuff and have more time for that than panels. So.
What kind of documentaries?
I want to finish my divorce documentary. I feel like I've had so much stuff. It's kind of been put on like the back end. I want to do a documentary into the school system too, like just kind of like deep dives into some of these institutions that I would argue discriminate against men. That's what I want to do.
Nice. All right, we got 5 more minutes. What other questions you got?
All right, so where do you like want this show to go? Like, what's your like end goal?
Great question. So, you know, I say that this is Valuetainment. So we have certain standards here. You know, we're not some fledgling little random YouTube company with no framework or vision or purpose. We're here to valuetain. We need to provide value, and we also want to entertain people. So when I started the basic premise of my show, before SOSCAST, it was called Sauce Talks Money. It was all money for 5 years. And then PBD sat me down one day. He's like, again, you have to evolve. You have to reinvent yourself. He's like, you know, you're good with money, but you're not the greatest, okay? What else can you infuse, all right? And Pat basically was like, you're an awesome networker. You own bars in South Beach. You've been around celebrities. You've been at the Kardashians and NBA players and rappers. Like, you know all these people. You know nightlife. You know women. You have friends with women. Like, why don't you infuse that with your show? You know what I said? Nah, I'm good. And a year later, finally I decided to do it. And obviously it kind of hit right as the red pill kind of went mainstream and all that. So what I've realized is, you know, I remember the first time Rolo came on, right? Your buddy. And I respect Rolo only because he was very open with me, and like meaning like he was like, hey man, nice to meet you. Let me introduce you to some friends, right? He introduced me to Fresh and Fit, and Michael Sartain, and Justin Waller, and for that I'm grateful. Like the introductions, like in order to introduce someone to your network, there's a certain level of trust right there. And that's not saying that me and Rolo haven't had issues in the past, but I will always gravitate towards, I respect that man, okay? So he came on, I remember the first time I asked him, I go, what's Red Pill? This is in early 2022, keep in mind, right? You're talking to somebody that's been in the dating scene, South Beach lifestyle, like, you know, men, women for 20 years. So once I kind of like, oh, cool, intersexual dynamics, men, women, different, cool. You know, I've realized, all right, when I show up to the club with 4 of my buddies, we don't get in. When I show up with 4 of these girls, I get a free table. Got it. All right, bingo, bango, got it. So I started asking these questions, and it just seemed very natural to me. So I wouldn't say that I am part of the Red Pill. I would say how Michael Sartani's Red Pill adjacent. I would say I respect what they got going on. But at the end of the day, I'm always going to gravitate towards money, business, networking, what valuetainment is. So I probably will do a little bit more money content, like having conversations with women about money. Like, all right, so you do OnlyFans. The natural thing is that, you know, no dude's ever gonna marry you. You high body count, bitch. I might be like, so what do you do with the money? Oh, you only have $5 grand saved up, but you said you've made 200 grand. What are you doing with your life, right? Because it's a lot easier to nitpick tangible stuff, rather than like, you dirty asshole, nobody's going to marry you. So like, I get that content. I've done it. I've seen it. Awesome. But I do want to do kind of more like how you want to do more documentaries and movies. Kind of want to understand that a little bit more. But I do like this. You must admit, there's something cool about the men, women, dating, nature, all that kind of stuff like that. It's interesting. It's appealing. But I would say for me, I'm going to gravitate a little bit more towards that moving forward. Like, how many times can you talk about body count?
At least 100 different.
Yeah, 100 different times, but after that. Cool.
And do you think you'll, okay, because recently Jedediah's not with you guys anymore, right? So like, what, are you guys going to have like more people here, or is it just going to be you guys have 2 shows now? Like, what's your plan?
No, we actually have, I think, 5 shows these days, 5 or 6 different talents, and we're growing. I think we just had an open house here at Valuetainment. We hired how many people showed up to the open call?
Oh, we had over like 50 people show up, and it was like live interview. We hired a whole bunch of people.
No, bro, you know, you've been at both buildings.
We're growing.
You've seen this building, pretty nice facility here, right? You've been at the other one, the first show you did.
No, it's super nice.
Super nice.
Yeah.
You know, PBD, respect to him. He's in the process of literally looking for a campus right now.
Wow.
So the goal of Valuetainment is to have
so
1,000 employees, right? Yeah. So I can look at it and be like, I was employee number 4, right? Like, it's pretty interesting. I think now we're at maybe 90.
Yeah, almost.
You know,
90.
so we're growing. We have a vision. We're here to empower future leaders and valuetain the audience out there. So we have a deep vision.
Yep.
Maybe one day Pearl's doing a documentary with Valuetainment. You never know.
Oh. You never know.
The future looks bright. So they're saying that we got to wrap up now.
Yeah.
You want to ask 1 or 2 more questions? And I have one more last question for you.
No, I'm okay.
You have a better understanding of me?
Yeah.
How about this?
I do feel like you guys would be a cute couple.
Okay, you're really pushing this agenda right
now. I know.
Yeah.
You're really doubling down on that.
Yeah.
But thank you. There's some certain men out there that are maybe in Nat's life that are probably be a little offended right now.
Sorry, fellas.
What would you say is the biggest misconception about me? You're like, I don't think people know you that much. I don't think that. What's like the one thing you're like, bro, any questions on the table? You can ask me anything. Offend me. I don't care. What do you really want to know?
The biggest misconception about you?
I don't know. Whatever question you want to ask. I'm actually having fun with this.
I don't know. Can you say that question in a different way?
Anything else you really want to ask me, but maybe you're holding back on asking?
I literally can't think of anything.
All right.
Sorry.
I put it out there. Let the record show. Before we Let's do super chats, and then we'll do the happy ending, and we'll wrap up. And Pearl can get her Chipotle in before she leaves.
I already ate it.
Oh, you already ate it. Respect.
Okay, thanks for super chats. We have, sorry if I messed up your name, Adianka Taylor. Pearl, what are you looking for in a man? I think you covered that.
We already addressed that.
Junior, he said, Pearl, would you go on Fresh and Fit? Seen you on there a few years ago and would love to see you reconnect with them. Then we have...
Would you go?
Yeah, no, I totally would.
Okay.
Nice. Then we have Don Juan Plagueis Zero. I know I turned down some of your small chats, but they were mean chats and they were only $1, buddy. But I see your $10 one, and he said, shame on that for not reading. Shame on Troller for lying. Shame on Conovan Sharp for misleading. Shame on MLD for fraudulent workout programs. Shame, shame, shame. Diss fatty bang hotties. Okay, that was a $10 one. Got it.
Okay,
then we have a crypto
for the
keeper.
record, we're never, ever, ever, ever going to read $1 chats,
Sorry, guys.
especially if they're
hating comments. That's
you want to hate all you want, a $10 comment, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's at least worthy of your time. Do you have a minimum of chat you'll read?
We usually do like 10 or 20 bucks.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we
Gotcha.
go. We're hitting the $10.
So you're not going to just succumb to $1 fuck you Pearl comment?
I'm like, no.
You don't need the $1 that bad?
I just won't read it.
Okay, there you go.
I'm like, I don't
Got
need
it.
this attitude, bitch.
Right.
Pass. Then we have Crypto Creeper. There is a reason a lot of men and some women agree with Pearl. She resonates with what people are thinking. Thanks for booking her, Nat. Keep up the great work. Then we have...
Thanks for booking her, Nat.
Actually, this was Sauce, but I love you. That was a great comment.
Pearl and I have been in contact
It was
for...
Nat. It was Nat.
Typical women, taking all the thunder from the men. Taking all the clap. Can't trust them.
Sorry, sisterhood Uber Alice.
Oh, wow. Now you want to play the sisterhood. Pearl.
I'm a part of it.
It's called a reversion.
I'm
It's
a
called
part
a
of it.
reversion to the mean. She can rail on women all she wants, but she is one.
Then we have our
Exactly. I'm still a woman.
Exactly.
They're like...
Then we have our last one. You're not a 10. The dating market is kind of a mess. What needs to happen is so that both men and women win. Saying be 1% sounds a bit unrealistic for most. Are 90% of men just shit out of luck? Oh, and hi, Nat. Hi, you're not a 10.
Hi. So what's the question?
Are
The
90%
question
of
is,
men... I would say the solution is lowering the risks of men for marriage. That's what I would say.
Okay.
I could go all day on this. I would
know
say
you can.
this. Whether it's money or whether it's your status, I view men as a stoplight. Okay? We all know the lowest form of stoplight is red. Stop. Okay? Then the money world, that is debt. That is you're drowning in debt. You make no money. You're barely living paycheck to paycheck. You're on welfare. Red light. In the dating world, that is meaning you got no game, you got no skills, you got no riz, you're fat, you're obese, you're playing video games, you're a red motherfucking light. The beautiful thing as a man is that you can get to a yellow light. How can you do that? Getting your money right, saving your money, okay? Getting out of debt, being smart with your money, being fiscally responsible, not basically keeping up with the Joneses. Cool, yellow light. What does that mean in the dating world? All right, cool. All right, maybe develop some confidence. Maybe stop sitting at home every day. Maybe you get out there and you talk to girls. Maybe you deal with rejection, but develop your confidence, right? Confidence comes from having competence. All right, if you go to get rejected by 9 girls and the 10th one says yes, great, you're getting somewhere. But the beautiful thing of a man, no matter how short you are, no matter how bald you are, no matter how poor you are, no matter what you are, if you play your game right, it might take you 5, 10, 20 years, you can become a green light. What's a green light? You're wealthy, you're successful, you're good looking, you're ripped, you dress well, you got swag, you got riz, you're funny, you're humorous, you're a man of faith, you're a man of good character. The world is an oyster for a man. And as Andrew Tate will say, a man is born with a blank slate. I believe that a man is born as a red light and he can work his way up to a green light. And it's incumbent on every man to do that. That's why when you say, well, 1/3 of men are virgins, it's like, figure out how not to be one, buddy.
Do you know,
so there you go.
You know what percent of men have had more than one sexual partner in the past year?
What?
Yes.
What percentage of men have had more than one sexual partner in the last year? 25%.
10.
10%.
10%.
Yeah. Look, it is not acceptable for a man to be average. Straight up.
Yeah.
Okay? Whether you agree with me or not. Okay? If you're just an average dude, you're average looking, you have an average job, you have average personality, girls aren't going to want you. Is that fair? I don't know. Maybe. But I can assure you of this. I have many friends who are in the 10% range. they're having the time of their in life, okay? And it's incumbent on every man to strive for greatness.
Yeah.
Or just succumb to mediocrity.
Yeah.
Last questions, last chats?
That's it for
I'm
time.
curious, do you think it's like...
You know we're running out of time. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to just ask one last question.
No, you're the one that has to go. I'll stay here for another hour.
Do you think, like... Because it's interesting. I don't know. I don't see, like, a guy that has a normal job as, like, somehow not doing enough. You know what I mean? Like a truck driver. Like, we need a truck driver. I don't know, because it sounds like you're saying, like, you're not doing enough if you're working a normal job.
Hear me out.
Yeah.
Everyone has 24 hours in a day, right?
Yeah.
Cool. The truck driver, he's working 8, 10-hour days, whatever it is, whatever job it is. The bigger question is, what are you doing with the other 14, 16 hours a day? You're probably sleeping for 6 to 8 hours. What are you doing with the other 6, 8, 10 hours? What are you doing? Most people are most people. Most people are getting home and Netflixing and chilling or eating pizza or playing video games. Very few people are going to the gym, reading, networking, going to business events. It's not so much what you do during your working hours, it's what you do when you're not working that'll make you different from the average guy. So I respect the working man, the Uber driver, the truck driver, the plumber, all good respect. But if you go home and you play video games and jerk off and smoke weed and that's your life, sorry, bro. Like, you're not improving. If you go home and you read and you go to the gym and you work out and you go donate your time or you help people, good things will come your way. So to me, it's not just the 9 to 5 thing. It's what you're doing beyond that.
Okay.
Cool? All right, Pearl. Last question for Pearl. You kind of touched on this. You know, we do something called the happy ending. We always like to end on a happy note. Okay? So it's a 2-part question. It's really the future of Pearl. You know, you've said that you've wanted to basically do less panels and start doing more documentaries. You know, we've seen some of the comments from the haters. She's not going to be here. She's not going anywhere. I actually believe that you're not going anywhere. Real talk. Okay? So your life might change. You might evolve eventually. I hope that you practice what you preach. You find a man. Hopefully he's Catholic and 6 foot and bingo bango and all that fun stuff. No beard. But what's the vision of Pearl and Pearly Things and the company you're building? What's that vision? So when we look at this, by the time you're 30, what are we going to see from Pearl?
Well, what we want to do is we want to leave a network in London. So the idea is we're going to sign like 5 talents in London. And then we're in the process of looking for a CEO. It's funny you said CEO. Yeah. I hate managing people. I actually outsource that as much as I possibly can.
Not easy to be the CEO.
No, it's like not in me. That's just not my personality type.
You're the founder, but not the CEO.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I saw it. Okay. So, and then I'm probably going to have an office in Chicago to start. Like, that's just for me. And then we're going to expand to maybe Miami or Vegas are the 2 cities we're looking at. So we might be out here. We'll see.
Neighbors.
Okay. Well, you have a friend in Miami, and you can always shoot content here at Valuetainment. Yes. You know, we respect you. Last question for Pearl Davis, Miss Pearly Things. I believe, you know, part of the premise of doing these shows is having these conversations to help men and women do better, improve, get better. Men want one thing, women want another thing. It's very hard to get them to convince the other side to get what they want. You've used some shock and awe to draw attention to this issue, much like Andrew Tate has. But I believe that men and women do better together and better coexisting together. If everyone hates each other, no one gets together, we don't have babies, we don't have kids, you know, society will cease to exist. So, you know, you're an advocate of women playing their traditional role, men being respected. I think that's something that you advocate of, although it sort of gets misconstrued with you're a female chauvinist and sort of the monikers that are thrown your way.
Well, a little bit.
So a little bit. But at the end of the day, this is a happy ending. How can men and women coexist, and not just coexist, not survive, but thrive in modern society? What are your thoughts?
I'm kind of a doomer. I don't think men and women will coexist until the laws change for men. I think men are going to look at the risks versus the rewards and continue to walk away, and that's what the data is saying. It's saying 60% of men in their 20s are not looking for marriage or relationships. So I think if you want to see them come together, then change the laws.
Wow.
That's-
But you're solving for marriage. That's at the end of the day.
Well, I'm solving for children, because the truth of the matter is, in this country, when a man has children, they are not his kids. They are always hers, because the woman will always have the leverage when you have kids. You can get whatever prenup you want. You might be protected from a prenup wise, but there's no guarantee that you will be the primary man to raise your children, because if a woman feels like it, she can leave and another man is raising your kids. And that is hell. That is death to a lot of men in this country.
All right.
So if we want to see men and women get together, change the laws.
Where's Pearl's camera?
Yes.
Which one's Pearl's
I
camera?
think straight.
Pearl straight. Pearl, here's your chance. Look into the camera. Give your best piece of advice to men and give your best piece of advice to women. Boom. Go for it.
My best piece of advice to men is never to marry a spiteful woman and to watch out for spite, because I actually think that's worse than a slutty chick, is a spiteful one, because those are the ones that'll ruin you in divorce court. And for women, please stop telling me about your rapper ex-boyfriend. I don't care.
That's the best piece of advice to women. You're
Please stop dating these rappers because I'm sick of hearing about them.
Pearl,
And producer.
as always, it's been fun. It's been challenging. It's been refreshing. We've disagreed. We were never disagreeable. I think we respect each other. I respect you. You've made a name for yourself. You've answered tough questions. You've asked me tough questions. You've held my feet to the fire on a situation. I've done the same. But as always, we leave here, I think, with a better understanding of each other's perspectives. Zero disrespect, all respect. If you enjoy Pearl being on the show,
Yes.
hit the thumbs up, give a sub, and obviously Pearl's approaching 2 million
Yes.
on her
yes.
channel. Show some love to Pearl. And Pearl, as always, we appreciate you. The next time we see you here, hopefully we meet your husband, your boyfriend. Hopefully it's not a rapper. We'll see.
You daddy?
Nat, great job today.
Great job,
Malik,
team.
great job. You were very silent today. Silent but deadly.
Yes.
But thank you guys for being here. Sub to the channel. We have no show on Thursday, but we got something cooking special for you coming up.
Spicy.
Thank you, Pearl. We'll see you guys later. Save that money.
Save
we
that
out.
money.
It's the SOSCAST, baby.